The house is quiet, wrapped in the deep blue of the night. There is a stillness in the air, a silence that should be peaceful. But inside your mind, a storm is raging. You can feel the weight of the blanket on your body, the softness of the pillow beneath your head. But these comforts cannot reach the part of you that is truly tired. Your body aches for rest, a deep, restorative sleep. But your mind, it refuses to be still. It leaps from thought to thought, a restless acrobat in the circus of your consciousness. It replays conversations from the day, worries about tasks for tomorrow, and dredges up memories from years ago, all with a frantic, insistent energy. This is the paradox of sleeplessness: to be utterly exhausted, yet painfully awake. You know that you need to sleep, and this very knowing, this pressure you put on yourself, becomes another log on the fire of your anxiety. I must sleep, you think, and in that moment, sleep feels more impossible than ever. This is the trap of the modern mind, the condition often called the monkey mind, a mind that has forgotten how to rest, constantly swinging from the branch of one thought to the next, never finding a moment of peace. But what if, for tonight, you decided to stop fighting? What if, instead of trying to silence the monkey, you simply gave it something beautiful to look at? What if, instead of wrestling with your thoughts, you invited them to listen to a story? Not just any story, but stories that carry within them the gentle wisdom of ancient traditions. Tales designed not to excite the mind, but to soothe it. These are stories that act like a balm for the soul, whispers of wisdom that can guide you back to the quiet place that has always existed within you. Beneath the noise and the chaos, they are keys, gently turning the lock to a door you may have forgotten was there. So, I invite you now to stop trying, stop striving, simply rest here, in the dark, and allow these words, these tales, to be a gentle current, a soft river to carry you away from the rocky shore of your worries, toward the calm, quiet ocean of sleep. There is nothing else you need to do. Your only task is to listen and to allow the journey to unfold. Let us begin, not with a command, but with a gentle invitation, an invitation for your attention to turn towards something it has been doing all on its own, without any effort. Since the moment you were born, your breath, do not try to change it, or control it, or deepen it. For now, simply notice that it is there. Your mind, just a moment ago, may have been in tomorrow, wrestling with schedules and anxieties. It may have been in yesterday, replaying a conversation, feeling the sting of a regret. The mind is a time traveler, a restless ghost that rarely inhabits the only moment that is ever real, the present moment. But your breath knows no other time but now. It cannot breathe in the past. It cannot exhale in the future. It exists only in this singular, unfolding moment. And by bringing your awareness to it, you gently invite the time-traveling mind to come home. Feel the air as it enters your nostrils. Perhaps it feels cool, a gentle stream from the vast ocean of air that surrounds you. Follow its path, without force. As it fills your lungs, notice the subtle expansion of your chest, or the gentle rise of your abdomen. There is a brief pause, a moment of stillness at the peak of the in-breath. a key turning point. And then, the release, the slow, soft letting go of the out-breath. The air may feel warmer as it leaves your body, carrying with it a small measure of your fatigue, a whisper of your tension. This is the rhythm of life, the quiet song your body sings to itself, second by second, minute by minute. It is the most faithful companion you will ever have. It is there in the lonely hours of the night, a steady, dependable anchor in the swirling seas of thought and emotion. You do not need to seek it out. You only need to recognize its presence. There is an old story about a young monk who was deeply troubled. He went to his master, his brow furrowed with frustration. "Master," he said, "I cannot meditate. I try to sit in silence. But my mind, it is a wild beast. It is a rampaging bull, crashing through the forest, dragging me through thorns of anger and swamps of sorrow. I try to wrestle it to the ground, to force it into submission. But it is too strong. It exhausts me, and I feel more lost than when I began. What can I do?" The old master listened with a soft smile, his eyes holding a deep, compassionate calm. He did not offer complex philosophies or stern commands. Instead, he said, "Come with me." He led the young monk out of the monastery, past the neat gardens and into the wilder lands that bordered the great forest. After some searching, they found what they were looking for, a truly magnificent wild bull. Its muscles rippled with raw power. Its eyes were full of untamed fire, and it tore at the earth with its hooves. A picture of raw, untamable energy. The young monk felt a surge of fear, for he saw in this creature the very image of his own chaotic mind. The old master handed the young monk a long, sturdy rope. He then pointed to a thick, immovable post, deeply embedded in the center of a wide, open field. The post was made from the heartwood of an ancient tree, and it had stood there for generations, weathered and strong. "Your task is simple," the master said. "Do not fight the bull. Do not try to tame it with your strength. Simply get this rope around its neck and tie the other end to this post. Then, step back and watch." The young monk, with great difficulty and much trepidation, managed to do as he was told. The moment the bull felt the rope, it became enraged. It bellowed and charged, pulling against the rope with all its immense power. It kicked up clouds of dust, its eyes red with fury. It ran to the very end of the rope, hitting the limit with a jolt that shook its entire body. It tried again and again, charging in every direction, trying to pull the post from the earth. But the post held firm. It did not resist. It did not fight back. It simply stood its ground, solid, dependable, and still. The young monk watched for hours as the bull raged and fought, exhausting its own energy against the unyielding stillness of the post. The next day, the monk returned. The bull was quieter. It still pulled at the rope occasionally, testing its boundary, but its frantic rage was gone. It began to graze on the grass that grew within the circle defined by the rope. The day after that, it was calmer still. It walked in slow circles around the post, its movements becoming more graceful, less agitated. It learned, not through force, but through experience, the exact limit of its freedom. It discovered that within this circle, there was grass to eat, There was sun and there was shade. There was a kind of peace. Weeks went by, and one day, the young monk arrived to find the great bull lying down in the grass, resting peacefully in the shade cast by the sturdy post. It was still a wild and powerful creature, but its frantic energy had subsided. It had found its center. The young monk returned to his master, his eyes bright with understanding. The master smiled and said, "You see, your mind is the wild bull, the endless forest of thoughts, worries, plans, and memories is its untamed home. You cannot conquer it by force. The harder you fight it, the more it will rage. But the post, that sturdy, unmovable post, that is your breath. Your task is not to destroy the bull, but to gently, patiently tie your awareness to your breath. When the mind charges with anger, simply remain aware of the breath. When it pulls you toward fear of the future, gently return your attention to the breath. The breath is the post. It is always in the present moment. It is always still. It is always strong. At first, your mind will resist. It will pull and tug and rage. But if you are patient, if you consistently return to this simple anchor, your mind will learn its own limits. It will discover that it can find peace right here, within the circle of this present moment. It will, in its own time, lie down and rest. So, as you lie here now, feel that sturdy post within you. Feel the simple, steady rhythm of your breathing. Your mind may still be pulling. It may present you with an urgent worry, a flash of memory, a sudden noise. That is okay. That is its nature. Do not fight it. Do not be discouraged. Simply notice that the bull is pulling, and then gently, with infinite kindness for yourself, return your awareness to the rope, to the anchor. Feel the in-breath, feel the out-breath. Each time you return to the breath, you are strengthening the post. You are reminding the mind where its true center of peace resides. With every breath you exhale, imagine you are loosening your grip on the need to control. Imagine the tension in your shoulders, your jaw, your stomach, just melting away, carried out on that warm stream of air. You are not trying to create a state of calm. You are simply tying your awareness to the calmness that is already here, in the simple, profound reality of your own breathing. And as you rest your attention here, on this faithful companion, you begin to notice other things. You start to see the nature of the thoughts themselves, the very waves that have been tossing you about. You are now anchored, ready to observe the weather of your mind from a place of safety and stillness, with your awareness resting gently on the anchor of your breath. You have found the sturdy post. You have found the still point in the turning world of your mind. And from this place of safety, we can now turn our gaze to the wildness itself, not with fear, but with curiosity. Your thoughts, which moments ago may have felt like a rampaging bull, can now be seen in a different light. Imagine them not as a beast to be tamed, but as a great river flowing endlessly through the landscape of your consciousness. This river has always been here. It is the nature of the mind to produce thoughts, just as it is the nature of a river to flow. To try and stop this river, to build a dam against it with sheer will, is a task of utter futility. It is like trying to hold back the ocean with your bare hands. The pressure would build and build until it bursts forth in a great, uncontrolled flood, a tidal wave of anxiety and overwhelm. The secret to peace is not to stop the river. The secret is to change your relationship to it. Imagine now that you are no longer struggling in the current, being tossed and turned by every wave. Instead, you have climbed out of the water. You are sitting on the soft, mossy bank of this great river of your mind. The sun is warm on your skin, and the ground beneath you is solid and supportive. From here, on this riverbank, you have a new perspective. You can simply watch the river flow by, and on the surface of this river, all manner of things float past. Think of them as leaves, each one a different thought or feeling. Here comes a bright green leaf, a happy memory from your childhood. You can observe its color, its shape, and then watch as the current gently carries it downstream and out of sight. Un moment la terre, perhaps a dark, crumpled leaf appears, a worry about a task you must complete tomorrow. You do not need to reach into the water and snatch it. You do not need to analyze it or fear it. You simply notice it. You can acknowledge softly to yourself a leaf of worry, and you watch as it, too, tumbles in the current and eventually drifts away. Another leaf appears, heavy and waterlogged, a feeling of sadness or a past hurt. It moves more slowly, but it still moves. It is not permanent. It is just another object floating down the river of time. This practice of sitting on the riverbank is the heart of mindfulness. You are cultivating the role of the silent witness, the impartial observer. The river may be turbulent today, filled with the debris of a stressful day, the rapids of anger or the whirlpools of confusion, or it may be slow and calm, meandering peacefully through a sun-drenched valley. The state of the river does not matter. Your peace is not dependent on the river being calm. Your peace is found on the bank. It is the unwavering stillness of your observation. To help you stay on the bank, you can practice a simple, gentle technique. As a thought leaf floats by, you can give it a soft, one-word label. If you find yourself planning a future conversation, you can just whisper in your mind, planning. If a memory from the past arises, remembering. If you begin to criticize yourself for not being asleep, judging. This is not an act of criticism. It is an act of recognition, of compassionate curiosity. It is like a botanist sitting by the river, noting an oak leaf, a maple leaf, a willow leaf. The label creates a tiny bit of space between you, the observer, and the thought that is being observed. In that space is freedom. In that space, you realize you are not the river. You are the one watching the river. Peace, you see, is not an empty mind. An empty mind is not the goal, and may not even be possible. True peace is a full mind that you are no longer drowning in. It is the profound stability of sitting on the bank, able to watch the whole wild, beautiful, and sometimes frightening spectacle of your own mind, without being carried away by it. There is a wonderful old fable that illustrates this perfectly. It is the story of a talkative turtle who lived in a beautiful, clear pond. His two best friends in the whole world were a pair of wild geese, who would visit the pond every year on their long migrations. The turtle loved his friends dearly and would spend hours chatting with them about the world. One year, a terrible drought fell upon the land. The pond began to shrink day by day, the water turning to mud, The geese knew they had to leave to find a new home. A distant lake full of cool, deep water. The turtle was filled with despair. "You cannot leave me here to bake in the sun," he cried. "We are friends, you must take me with you." The geese were very fond of the turtle, and they felt great pity for him. After much thought, they devised a clever, but dangereux plan. "We will find the strongest, sturdiest stick we can," they said. "We will each take one end of the stick in our beaks. You, or dear friend, will bite down firmly on the middle of the stick, and we will fly you through the air to the new lake." The turtle was overjoyed, but the geese gave him a very solemn warning. "This plan will only work under one condition," they said, their voices serious. "You must keep your mouth shut. No matter what you see or hear, no matter how tempted you are, you must not open your mouth to say a single word. If you do, you will fall. Your life depends on your silence." The turtle, eager for the adventure, clamped his powerful jaws on the stick and promised with a series of vigorous nods. And so the journey began. The two geese beat their powerful wings, and for the first time in his life, the turtle was airborne. It was more magnificent than anything he had ever imagined. He saw his old pond shrink to the size of a puddle. He saw forests that looked like patches of green moss and rivers that shone like silver threads. He was filled with silent awe. They flew for a long time, until they passed over a small village. The people on the ground looked up, their eyes wide with disbelief. They had never seen such a sight. They pointed and shouted. A group of children began to laugh and jeer. "Look at that foolish king of a turtle," one of them yelled. "He's so lazy he makes the poor geese carry him everywhere." The turtle heard this. His heart swelled with indignation. Lazy, foolish. How could they know it was his brilliant idea? His courage. They were mocking his genius. He burned with the need to correct them, to set the record straight. He completely forgot the geese's solemn warning. He forgot that his life depended on his silence. He opened his mouth to shout back a furious retort. "It was my idea." And in that instant, of course, his grip was lost. The world turned upside down. He plummeted from the sky, his cleverness and his anger meaning nothing as he fell helplessly to the hard ground below. As you lie here, resting on the riverbank of your awareness, consider this story. The taunts and jeers from the villagers are like the thoughts that float through your mind, especially the provocative ones, the anxious thoughts, the self-critical thoughts, the angry thoughts. They are stimuli that cry out for a reaction. They want you to engage, to argue, to defend, to worry. Opening your mouth to shout back is what we do when we grab onto a thought, when we believe it unquestioningly, when we jump into the river and begin to wrestle with it. And the fall is that familiar, sickening plunge into distress. It is the loss of your peace, the moment you are swept away by the current of your own mind, by choosing to remain on the bank, by choosing to let the leaves float by without grabbing them. You are practicing the turtle's wisdom. You are keeping your mouth metaphorically closed. You are honoring the fact that not every thought deserves a response. Not every stimulus requires your engagement. You are preserving your energy, your calm, your very life force, by resting in the quiet wisdom of observation. And as you continue to sit here, anchored by your breath, watching the river of your mind, you may begin to notice something else. You may begin to notice the subtle echoes that this river creates on the banks, the way these thoughts and feelings leave their traces upon your own body as you rest here, on the quiet banks of your own awareness, anchored by the rhythm of your breath. You have watched the river of thoughts flow by. You have learned that you do not need to leap into its current, but even as you watch from a safe distance, a river always affects its banks. The currents leave ripples in the sand. The floods deposit debris. The constant flow slowly shapes the land around it. In the very same way, the river of your mind shapes the landscape of your body. A day filled with anxious thoughts leaves a tight knot in your stomach. A flash of anger clenches your jaw without you even noticing. The constant, low-grade hum of responsibility pulls your shoulders up towards your ears, preparing for a threat that never quite arrives. Your body becomes a silent library of every experience, every emotion, every stress you have carried. It holds the memory of your day in its very fibers. And so, let us now turn our gentle, kind attention to this landscape. Let us become a patient gardener, and this body, our sacred garden, which we will tend to with loving care. The goal is not to fix anything, but simply to walk through the garden, to notice what is growing there, and to offer it the gentle rain of our awareness. Let your journey begin at the furthest edge of your garden, at the tips of your toes. Bring your attention, that soft beam of light, all the way down through your body to your feet. You do not need to wiggle your toes or move them at all. Simply notice them. Can you feel the sensation of the blanket against them? Can you feel the space between each toe? Perhaps you feel warmth, or coolness, or a slight tingling. Whatever you feel, or don't feel, is perfectly fine. You are simply noticing. Now, as you breathe in, imagine you could send your breath all the way down to your toes, filling them with fresh energy and awareness. And as you breathe out, give your toes permission to soften, to let go of any tension they might be holding. Give them permission to release their grip. Now, allow that warm, soft awareness to expand into the soles of your feet. These feet that have carried you through your day, that have stood on hard floors, that have pressed against pedals and climbed stairs. They have worked so hard. Offer them your gratitude with your next out breath. Imagine all the weariness and fatigue flowing out from the soles of your feet, leaving them feeling soft, warm, and heavy. Let this gentle awareness now travel up to your ankles and into your lower legs, your calves and your shins. These are the strong pillars that support you. Often, we hold tension here without realizing it. In the garden of your body, these tensions are not your enemies. They are like small, stubborn weeds, their roots clinging tightly in the soil. The wise gardener does not rip them out with violence. That would only disturb the ground and harm the flowers. Instead, he gently loosens the soil around them, day by day, until they release their grip naturally. So, as you breathe out, imagine the muscles in your calves and shins just loosening their grip, letting go of their tightness, becoming soft and pliable. Let the awareness continue its slow journey upward, into your knees, and then into the large, powerful muscles of your thighs, both the front and the back. Feel the heavy, solid weight of your legs, sinking down into the mattress, being fully supported. They do not need to hold you up anymore. Their work for the day is done. Give them permission to be completely at rest. Now, bring your attention to the center of your body, to your hips, your pelvis, and your buttocks. This is a great bowl of energy where we store so much of our stress, our unspoken fears, and our deep-seated tensions. Do not try to analyze what you find here. The gardener does not need to know the history of every weed. He just tends to it with care. Breathe into this entire area, a deep, nourishing breath. And as you exhale, release, let go. Allow this part of your body to feel heavy, wide, and open. Imagine the muscles softening, the joints loosening, a feeling of deep, profound release spreading through your entire lower body. From here, let your awareness travel up into your abdomen, the soft vulnerability of your belly. This is often where worry resides. If you notice any tightness, any knots, just hold them in your gentle awareness. Imagine your out-breath is like warm water, flowing into that area and slowly, gently, dissolving any hardness you might find. Allow your belly to be soft. Allow the natural, gentle rhythm of your breath to move here without restriction. Let the awareness continue to rise into your chest, the home of your heart and lungs. Feel the gentle, rhythmic expansion and contraction here. If there is any tightness, a feeling of being constricted, just notice it. With each out-breath, give it space. Imagine your rib cage softening, creating more room for your heart, more room for your breath, more room for peace. And in this part of your garden, where you find ease, where you find warmth, see this as a beautiful flower. Water it with your attention. Appreciate its simple, quiet presence. Now, let your awareness branch out, flowing down your arms to your hands. Bring your focus to your hands, to your palms, and to each individual finger. These hands that have worked and typed and held and cleaned, they hold so much tension. Allow them to open. Imagine any clenched energy just flowing out through the tips of your fingers, leaving your hands feeling warm, heavy, and utterly still. Let the wave of relaxation travel back up your arms, into your shoulders. The shoulders. They are the great storehouses of burden and responsibility. We so often carry them high and tight, braced for impact. Consciously, deliberately, give your shoulders permission to drop. Allow them to melt away from your ears. Feel the space that is created in your neck. Let all the weight of the world you have been carrying on your shoulders slide off, leaving them feeling light and free, soft and relaxed. Bring this softness up into your neck and your throat. Let go of any tightness here. And then, bring the awareness to your face. The gardener now tends to the most delicate flowers. Allow your jaw to go slack, letting your teeth part slightly. Let your tongue rest softly in your mouth. Allow your cheeks to soften. Let your eyes feel heavy in their sockets. And release the tiny muscles around them. And finally, bring your awareness to your forehead and the space between your eyebrows. Let it become smooth, wide, and clear. All expression, all effort, just melting away. Finally, bring your attention to the very top of your head, the crown, and from here, feel this warm, heavy, soft state of relaxation as one unified sensation. pervading your entire body, from the tips of your toes to the crown of your head. Your whole body is resting. It is heavy. It is warm. It is still. The gardener does not command his flowers to bloom, nor does he shout at the sun to shine. He simply creates the right conditions. He removes the weeds gently. He waters the soil. He trusts in the natural process of growth and rest. You have now tended to your own garden. You have provided the conditions of awareness and kindness. You can now trust in your body's own deep wisdom to find the rest it needs. And in this newfound stillness of the body, this quiet, peaceful garden, we can now become aware of a very subtle, but very powerful, final obstacle that often arises in the quiet of the night. It is the silent, insistent pressure of expectation itself. Your body lies here, a quiet and peaceful garden, tended to with kindness and awareness. The tensions have been witnessed. The soil has been softened. A deep physical calm pervades. And yet, in this newfound stillness, you may notice a new kind of stirring. It is not a physical tension, but a mental one, a subtle, yet insistent question that arises from the quiet. I am relaxed now. So, why am I not asleep? This question, however innocent it seems, is a powerful form of striving. It is the final and most clever trick of the restless mind. It is the expectation. It is the desire for a specific result, and this desire is the very thing that stands between you and the peace you seek. Think of sleep as a shy cat, a beautiful, quiet creature that sometimes visits your house. If you see it in the garden and decide you want to pet it, what happens? You call its name. You start to walk towards it. You reach out your hand. The cat sees your desire, your focused intent, and it becomes wary. It backs away. You take another step forward, and it takes 2 steps back. You long to grab it, and in a flash, it is gone, vanished under a bush, leaving you alone with your grasping hands and your frustration. But what happens on another day? When you are not thinking about the cat at all, you are simply sitting quietly on a chair in the sun, reading a book, lost in your own world, completely without expectation. And then, you feel a gentle weight on your lap. You look down, and there it is. The shy cat has come to you. On its own terms, in its own time, it has sensed your stillness, your lack of wanting, and it has deemed you a safe harbor. It curls up, begins to purr, and settles in for a long nap. Sleep is exactly like this shy cat. The more you chase it, the more you demand its presence, the faster and further it runs away. The very act of wanting to be asleep is a state of tension, but if you can let go of the wanting, if you can create a state of peaceful, non-demanding rest, you create the warm, safe lap upon which sleep may choose to curl up, all on its own. Right now, your mind may be a very full cup. It is full of ideas about what should be happening. It is full of the strong, hot tea of expectation. I'm asleep is one of the thoughts filling the cup. I have to wake up in 6 hours. Then 5. Then 4 is another. If I don't sleep tonight, my meeting tomorrow will be a disaster. Is a particularly bitter flavor of tea that fills the cup to the brim. What is wrong with me? Why can't I just do this one simple, natural thing? This self-judgment overflows the cup and makes a mess of everything. With a cup so full, so overflowing with these insistent thoughts, where is there any room for peace? Where is there any space for the gentle, shy cat of sleep to enter? There is none. You are completely occupied by the struggle. This brings to mind the story of a great scholar, a man renowned throughout the land for his intellect. He had read every sacred text, every philosophical treatise, every commentary on the nature of reality. He could debate for days on the subtlest points of doctrine. His mind was a vast library, and he was very proud of it. Yet, for all his knowledge, he felt a deep sense of unease. Peace eluded him. He heard tales of a wise old Zen master who lived a simple life in a small hut on a remote mountain. And the scholar, full of confidence in his own understanding, decided he would visit this master to discuss the finer points of Zen. After a long journey, the scholar arrived at the humble hut. The master, a simple man with clear, quiet eyes, welcomed him inside. Immediately, the scholar began to talk. He showed off his immense learning, quoting ancient texts, explaining complex theories, laying out his entire intellectual framework for how the universe worked. He spoke of emptiness and form, of consciousness and illusion, using beautiful and elaborate words. He was not truly asking a question. He was demonstrating his own brilliance, perhaps expecting the master to be impressed. To validate his conclusions, the old master listened patiently, nodding occasionally, his face as calm and unreadable as a still pond. When the scholar finally paused to take a breath, the master smiled gently and said, "You have traveled a long way. Let us have some tea." He moved with a simple, unhurried grace. He lit a small fire, heated the water, and brought out 2 small, earthenware cups. The scholar sat, a little impatiently, waiting to resume his intellectual discourse. The master took the steaming kettle and began to pour tea into the scholar's cup. He filled it to the brim, the rich, dark liquid reflecting the light from the small window. And then, he kept pouring. The tea rose over the lip of the cup and began to spill into the saucer. The scholar watched, his brow furrowed in confusion. The master kept pouring. The tea filled the saucer and then began to run onto the simple wooden table. A hot, wasteful stream. The scholar could bear it no longer. He stood up and shouted, his voice sharp with irritation. "Stop. What are you doing? The cup is full, can't you see? No more will go in." The old master calmly set down the teapot. He looked directly into the scholar's eyes, his gaze holding no judgment, only a deep, compassionate clarity. "Like this cup," he said, his voice as soft as the steam still rising from the kettle. "You are full. You are full of your own opinions, your own ideas, your own speculations. You have come to me asking to be shown Zen, but you have no room to receive anything. How can I share anything with you?" The master asked. "Unless you first empty your cup." The scholar stood frozen, the master's words echoing in the sudden silence of the room. He looked at the overflowing cup, the wasted tea, and for the first time, he saw not the master's foolishness, but his own, his lifetime of intellectual pride. His vast library of knowledge felt suddenly like a heavy burden, like a cup filled to the brim with stale, cold tea. Tonight, As you lie here, your cup is full. It is full of the need to sleep. It is full of the timetable of the clock. It is full of the fear of tomorrow's fatigue. These things fill your mind, leaving no space. So, the invitation now is to practice emptying your cup. Make a conscious decision. The goal for the rest of this night is no longer to fall asleep. The goal is simply to rest, lying here, in this quiet, peaceful state. Your body is already healing. Your mind, by not struggling, is already restoring itself. This state of calm wakefulness is profoundly restful. It is a gift. Accept it. Visualize your cup. See all the things that are filling it, the anxieties, the plans, the demands, and now, mentally, gently, tip the cup over. Let it all pour out. Pour out the need to be asleep. Pour out the fear of being tired. Pour out the clock. Let it all go. And what is left? An empty cup, a spacious mind, a state of simple being. You are awake. That is the reality of this moment. And that is perfectly okay. By accepting this, you have taken all the power away from the struggle. You have made peace with what is. You have created the quiet, safe, non-demanding space. And now, who knows, perhaps a certain shy cat, sensing the newfound peace, might just decide to wander in. You are resting now, in the quiet garden of your body, holding an empty cup. You have let go of the need to be anywhere else, to be in any other state. You have given yourself permission to simply be here, awake and at rest. In this spaciousness, your senses may begin to open in a new way. And the first thing you may notice is the soundscape of your room. In our desperate search for sleep, we often declare war on sound. The gentle hum of a refrigerator becomes a monstrous drone. A creak in the floorboards sounds like a gunshot. A distant siren feels like a personal attack on our peace. We tense up. We become irritated. We plug our ears and curse the noisy world. We believe that silence is the prerequisite for peace, and we fight a losing battle to obtain it. But what if we were to try a radically different approach? What if, just for tonight, we declared a truce? What if these sounds were not enemies to be vanquished, but simply phenomena to be observed, or even to be appreciated? Let your awareness become like a sensitive microphone, picking up the full range of sounds around you without judgment. Just listen. Don't label the sounds as good or bad, annoying or pleasant. Simply receive them as pure vibration. Asraf sensoridata. Perhaps you can hear the low, steady drone of an appliance. Instead of resisting it, listen into it. Notice its pitch, its consistency. Imagine it as the cello section of an orchestra, holding a long, deep note that provides the foundation for the entire piece. Maybe there is the faint, rhythmic ticking of a clock. Hear it not as a reminder of passing time, but as the gentle, precise percussion section. The tiny tapping of a woodblock keeping a steady rhythm. A car passes by outside, its sound swelling and then fading. That is the brass section. A momentary flourish that adds drama and movement before receding back into the whole. Every sound, no matter how mundane, can be a note in this unique, unrepeatable symphony of this very moment. You are the sole audience member for this intimate performance, the symphony of the night. But there is another, deeper layer to this practice. Once you have allowed the sounds to be as they are, turn your attention to what holds them. Listen not just to the notes, but to the silence between the notes. Listen to the vast, quiet canvas upon which these sounds are painted. This silence is not an absence of sound. It is a presence. It is a deep, velvety, infinite space that contains all the sounds. The hum of the fridge arises from this silence, and it will eventually dissolve back into it. The ticking of the clock is a tiny island in a vast ocean of quiet. The silence is always bigger. It is more fundamental. It is always here, untouched and undisturbed by the sounds that pass through it. You can rest your attention in this silence. Feel its depth, its stability. When a sound appears, you can notice it, and then feel it fade back into the profound stillness that was always there, waiting for it. The silence is your true refuge, and just as this is true for the world outside you, it is true for the world inside you. Your mind is also a symphony, often a chaotic one. Your thoughts are the loud, clashing cymbals and the frantic violin solos. They demand your attention, but just like in the room around you, there is a silence inside you. 2. Between each thought, there is a gap, a tiny, momentary pause before the next thought begins. These gaps are often so brief that we miss them entirely, swept away by the momentum of our thinking. But now, in this state of deep rest, you can begin to notice them. Don't try to force them or create them. Just be aware that they are there. A thought about yesterday ends, and for a fraction of a second, there is a space before a thought about tomorrow begins. That space, that tiny gap, is a doorway. It is a direct portal to the vast, silent field of awareness that is your true nature. You can rest your attention here. When you find yourself lost in a train of thought, simply wait for it to end and notice the stillness in its wake. However brief, the more you notice these gaps, the more they may seem to expand. The silence is here, inside you, just as it is outside. It is the background of your mind, always present, always peaceful, no matter how noisy the foreground may be. There is a beautiful story about a king who wished to find the greatest artist in his kingdom. He announced a grand contest with a magnificent prize. The challenge was to create a painting that perfectly captured the essence of peace. Artists from far and wide took up the challenge. On the day of the judging, the palace gallery was filled with breathtaking canvases. There were paintings of serene, mirror-like lakes, perfectly reflecting snow-capped mountains under a clear blue sky. There were images of quiet, sun-dappled forests where no wind stirred the leaves. There were depictions of gentle streams meandering through lush green pastures where sheep grazed contentedly. The entire court, and all who viewed the gallery, were mesmerized by these tranquil scenes. Surely, they all whispered, the prize will go to the artist who painted the still lake. That is the very definition of peace. The king, a man of deep wisdom, walked slowly through the gallery. He admired all the paintings, but he did not stop. He walked past the still lakes and the silent forests, right to the very end of the gallery, to a painting that most people had ignored or dismissed as a failure. It was a shocking, tumultuous scene. The artist had painted a great, jagged mountain, bare and rugged. From its heights, a furious waterfall crashed down in a torrent of white, churning water. The sky behind it was dark and menacing, split by a streak of jagged lightning. The wind seemed to whip the spray from the waterfall into a frenzy. It was a picture of chaos, of raw and violent power. It seemed to be the very opposite of peace. The crowd murmured in confusion. Why was the king staring so intently at this disturbing image? The king raised a hand for silence and beckoned them closer. "Look," he said softly, pointing to a small detail they had all overlooked. There, behind the roaring, thundering curtain of water, tucked into a tiny crevice in the rock, was a small bush. And in that bush, a mother bird had built her nest. She sat there, on her eggs, her tiny eyes calm and bright, perfectly sheltered and at ease, completely untroubled by the raging fury that surrounded her. A hush fell over the crowd. The king turned to them and announced, "This will be the winner. This is true peace," he explained. Peace is not found in a place where there is no noise, not trouble, or no difficulty. That is mere quietness. True peace is found in the very midst of turmoil, when your heart can remain calm and centered. To be untroubled in the heart of chaos, that is the unshakable peace we all seek. As you lie here now, listen to the symphony of your room. It may be your own personal waterfall, with its hums and creaks and distant rumbles. Your mind, with its endless stream of thoughts, may be the stormy sky. But you are not the waterfall. You are not the storm. You are the mother bird in the nest. Your awareness, anchored in the deep silence that holds all things, is your safe crevice in the rock. You can be at peace, not because the world has gone silent, but because you have found the silence within the world. You can rest in the calm center of your own being, undisturbed, and from this place of profound acceptance of the world outside, you are now beautifully prepared to turn your gaze to the weather patterns that arise within your own heart. You are resting in the heart of the waterfall, a place of deep peace found not in the absence of noise, but within it. You have accepted the sounds of the night. You have emptied your cup of striving, and your body is a calm and quiet garden. In this profound stillness, you create a space for things to arise, and often, what arises in the quiet of the night are the visitors we have successfully ignored during the busy light of day. During our waking hours, we are masters of distraction. A pang of sadness is quickly paved over with another task on our to-do list. A surge of anxiety is silenced by the scroll of a screen or the noise of a conversation. We run from our feelings, keeping just one step ahead of them, until the day ends. And then we lie down in the dark, and all our running stops. There is nowhere left to go, and we hear a slow, deliberate knock on the door of our awareness. It is the unwanted guest. Perhaps tonight's guest is anxiety. It arrives cloaked in shadows, its face etched with worry about 1,000 possible futures, none of them good. Or perhaps the visitor is sadness, a heavy, cloaked figure that speaks of past losses and disappointments, its very presence seeming to drain the warmth from the room. It could be anger, hot and restless, pacing the floors of your mind, recounting old injustices. Our first instinct, our lifelong training, is to react with fear and aversion. We rush to the door and try to hold it shut. "You are not welcome here," we hiss through the keyhole. "Go away. I am trying to find peace," and so begins a terrible struggle. We push against the door with all our might, and the unwanted guest pushes back. It is an exhausting, desperate battle. A wrestling match in the dark that consumes all our energy and ensures that peace remains impossible. The harder we push, the more insistent the guest becomes. But what if, just for tonight, we tried a different strategy? One born not of resistance, but of profound courage and wisdom. What if, when you hear that knock, you took a slow breath, walked to the door, and opened it? What if you looked upon the face of your anxiety or your sorrow, and instead of slamming the door, you stepped aside and said, softly, "I see you are here. Welcome. Come in." This is the practice of radical hospitality for your own heart. It does not mean you like the guest. It does not mean you approve of its presence or want it to stay forever. It is simply an acknowledgement of what is real in this moment. The guest is here. The fight is over. You lead the guest into the room of your awareness and offer it a chair. You sit down with it, not as an enemy, but as a host, and you ask it a silent question. What do you need me to know? Instead of getting caught up in the guest's frantic stories, the endless, spiraling narratives of what if and if only, you can bring your curiosity to its physical presence. Where does this guest reside in the house of your body? If anxiety is the visitor, where does it sit? Is it a cold, tight knot in the pit of your stomach? Is it a frantic, fluttering, a trapped bird beating its wings inside your ribcage? Is it a tingling vibration in your hands and feet? Don't try to make the sensation go away. Don't judge it as bad. Your only task is to feel it with a kind, gentle curiosity. Can you breathe into that sensation? Imagine your breath flowing around that knot in your stomach, not to force it to untie, but to give it space, to soften the area around it by focusing on the pure, physical sensation. You unhook yourself from the runaway train of anxious thought. You are no longer lost in the story. You are present with the reality of the feeling in your body, and as you sit with this feeling, this guest, you may begin to realize something profound. This feeling, no matter how powerful, how overwhelming it seems, is like a weather pattern passing through the vast, open sky of your awareness. The sky does not become the storm cloud. The sky is the space in which the storm cloud appears, rages for a time, and eventually dissipates. You are the sky, not the cloud. The feeling is an event in you. It is not the entirety of you. This realization creates a space of freedom. The anxiety is here, but you are also here, watching it, holding it in a vast, compassionate awareness that is bigger than any emotion. The great Thai meditation master, Ajahn Chah, taught his monks in monasteries set deep within the wild forests. These forests were not gentle parks. They were filled with all manner of creatures, including king cobras, some of the most venomous snakes on earth. A young monk, newly arrived from the West, was often terrified. He would find a cobra coiled in the path, or sunning itself near his small, simple hut. His mind screamed at him to either kill the snake, to eliminate the threat, or to flee the forest entirely and return to the safety he had known. He was at war with the reality of his new home. He went to Ajahn Chah, his heart full of fear, expecting the master to offer a solution for getting rid of the snakes. Instead, Ajahn Chah spoke to him about the nature of the mind. He said, "The cobra is not the problem. It is just being a cobra. It follows its nature. It doesn't want to bite you. It wants to find food, to sleep, to live its life. The real problem is your aversion. The real problem is the cobra in your own mind, your fear. He taught the young monk not to fight the snakes, and not to be foolishly reckless with them either. You don't make the cobra your pet. He would say, but you don't live in a state of constant war. You learn, you practice mindfulness. You carry a lamp at night. You watch where you step. You learn the cobra's ways. You respect its space. You acknowledge its presence. And you coexist. Your difficult emotions are the cobras in your own mind. Your anxiety, your grief, your anger, they are wild, powerful, and instinctual. Our untrained reaction is to try and kill them, to suppress them, numb them, pretend they aren't there, or we flee, we distract ourselves. We run from the inner forest. The path of wisdom is to become like the mindful monk. We learn to acknowledge the presence of the emotion without panic. Ah, I see you. Anxiety, you are here. We respect its power. We don't foolishly indulge its stories and let it run our lives. But we don't declare war. We don't try to obliterate it. We simply create a space for it. We watch it with a respectful, mindful distance. We learn its ways. We notice what triggers it. We feel its energy in our body. And we allow it to be there without letting it bite us, without letting it poison our whole being. We learn to coexist. So tonight, if an unwanted guest knocks, or if you sense a cobra in the corner of your mind, practice this wise hospitality, this respectful coexistence. Open the door, let it in, feel its presence in your body, hold it in the vast, sky-like nature of your awareness. Do not fight, do not flee, simply be present with it. And when you can sit with your most difficult emotions in this way, without struggling, you begin to notice a remarkable thing. You notice that the guest does not stay forever. The cobra does not lie in the same spot for all eternity. The storm cloud, no matter how dark, is in constant, subtle motion. And in watching this movement, you make a direct, personal discovery of one of the most liberating truths of all. You are sitting with the unwanted guest, the cobra in the corner of your mind. You have opened the door. You have laid down your arms, and you are simply bearing witness to its presence. In this courageous stillness, you may have noticed something incredible. The guest fidgets. The cobra shifts its position. The storm cloud of emotion, which seems so solid and monolithic, is in fact a swirling, changing mass of energy. It is not static. It moves, and this direct observation is your entry point into one of the most profound and liberating truths known to humanity. A truth that has the power to untie the deepest knots of your suffering. It is the simple, universal law of impermanence. The truth that everything changes. Nothing, absolutely nothing, is permanent. We often hear this as a sad or even frightening idea, a reminder of loss and death. But tonight, let us explore it as the ultimate medicine, the key that unlocks the prison of our anxieties. To feel its truth, you don't need to believe in any philosophy. You only need to look at the day that has just ended. Bring to mind the very first moment you were conscious this morning, that feeling of waking, the state of your body, the first thoughts that entered your mind. Where are they now? They are gone, replaced by 1,000 other moments, Think of the first cup of coffee or tea you had. Can you recall the aroma, the warmth of the cup in your hands? The taste, it was a real, vivid experience. And now, it is nothing more than a faint memory, a ghost of a sensation. It arose, it existed for a time, and it passed away. Consider a conversation you had today. Whether pleasant or difficult, the words were spoken, the feelings were felt, the moment was lived. And now, it is over. The sound waves have dissipated. The facial expressions have vanished. It has dissolved back into the past. The sunlight of the afternoon, the food you ate for your evening meal, the feeling of walking, of sitting, of working, every single experience, without exception, has followed this same arc. It is born, it lives for a time, and it dies. This is not a tragedy. It is simply the nature of reality. It is the rhythm of the universe, the constant, flowing dance of existence. And now, turn this powerful lens of observation onto your current experience. This feeling of anxiety that may be visiting you, this tightness in your chest or hollowness in your stomach. We treat this feeling differently. When we are anxious or in pain, the mind tells us a convincing and terrifying lie. It whispers, "This is permanent. This is the new reality. This will never end." We believe we have fallen into a dark well with no escape, but the law of impermanence assures us that this is impossible. The feeling of anxiety is made of the same transient stuff as the morning coffee and the afternoon sun. It is a temporary weather pattern, not a permanent climate. It is a wave rising from the ocean of consciousness. It may be a large, powerful, intimidating wave, but it is still just a wave. And the nature of all waves is to rise, to crest, and to fall back into the ocean from which they came. This feeling that you are feeling right now is not a life sentence. It is not a solid state. It is a flowing process. It is already changing, moment to moment. Even if that change is too subtle to notice, it will pass. This understanding is the ultimate liberation. It frees you from the two great chains that cause so much suffering, clinging and aversion. Clinging is when we experience something pleasant, joy, excitement, even a moment of peace, and we try to grasp it, to hold on to it, to stop time so it will never leave. Aversion is when we experience something unpleasant, fear, pain, boredom, sleeplessness, and we try to push it away, to fight it, to annihilate it. Both of these are a struggle against the fundamental nature of reality. They are like trying to build a dam in the middle of a river. It is exhausting and ultimately futile. The law of impermanence invites us to loosen our grip. We don't have to desperately cling to the good moments because we know they will pass. And we don't have to be terrified of the bad moments because we know they, too, will pass. We can learn to hold all of our experiences with a lighter, more open hand. We can allow life to flow through us without the constant, exhausting effort of trying to control it. This is the heart of peace. There is an ancient story, told in many lands, of a great and powerful king. He was a man of immense passions. In times of victory, his joy was boundless, his feasts were legendary, and his pride was as vast as his kingdom. But in times of difficulty, his despair was just as immense. A military defeat, a poor harvest, or a betrayal would plunge him into a black mood that could last for months. He was a slave to the pendulum of his own emotions, swinging wildly from ecstatic highs to crushing lows. One day, weary of this internal tyranny, he summoned the wisest sages and most skilled jewelers in his realm. He set them a seemingly impossible task. "I want you to create a ring for me," he commanded. "It must be beautiful, but its true value must lie in its message. I want it to be engraved with words so powerful that they can regulate my very soul when I am in the depths of despair. Looking at this ring must give me hope, and when I am at the height of my triumph, lost in pride and arrogance, looking at it must bring me back to humility and sobriety. Create this for me, and your reward will be immeasurable." The sages and jewelers were perplexed. They debated for weeks. They considered long philosophical quotes, complex spiritual symbols, and intricate designs, but no single message seemed to have the power to both lift a man from sorrow and temper his joy. They were at a loss. Finally, an old, quiet counselor who had served the king's father and who had seen the cycles of fortune and misfortune many times, came forward. He presented the king with a simple, unadorned gold band. The king was unimpressed at first, but the old man gestured for him to look closer. There, etched into the inside of the ring in small, simple letters, were 4 words. The king read them aloud. "This too shall pass." A profound silence filled the throne room. The king looked at the words and understood instantly. He imagined looking at the ring after a great victory, and the words would remind him that his glory was fleeting, that pride was a dangerous trap. It would temper his joy with wisdom. He then imagined looking at it in a moment of terrible defeat, his kingdom crumbling around him, and the words would be a beacon of hope, a promise that his suffering was not eternal, that the wheel would turn again. It would temper his sorrow with resilience. He had found his anchor. Tonight, as you lie here, this message is for you. The ring is in your hands. This feeling of being awake, this guest of anxiety, this entire situation, this too shall pass. The desperate longing for sleep, this too shall pass. Even a moment of profound peace that might arise from listening to these words. Hold it lightly, for this too shall pass. There is nothing to hold on to, and nothing to fear. You are simply resting in the gentle, ceaseless flow of time, by truly understanding that everything is a temporary visitor. You can begin to look at the visitors who have already come and gone. You can begin to unpack the heavy luggage you carry from yesterday, filled with things that have already passed away. You are resting in the ceaseless river of time, holding the truth of impermanence in your heart. You have seen how everything arises, exists for a time, and passes away: the joy, the sorrow, the unwanted guest, the cobra in the mind. Everything follows this natural law. This understanding brings a profound peace, and now we can turn this light of awareness onto one of the heaviest burdens we carry into the quiet of the night: the past. The past, by its very definition, is the collection of all things that have already passed away. It is a land of ghosts, and yet we allow these ghosts to haunt the sacred space of our rest. As you lie here, notice the tendency of the mind to become a time machine, set exclusively to rewind. It becomes a tireless film projectionist, replaying scenes from your life, especially the ones you'd rather forget. It puts on the cringe reel, a highlight collection of every awkward moment, every clumsy mistake, every foolish thing you've ever said. It relitigates old arguments, where you finally come up with the perfect, witty retort you wish you'd said hours or even years ago. It becomes a courtroom, and you are the sole participant, the prosecutor, pointing out your flaws, the defendant, squirming in shame, and the judge, handing down a guilty verdict. Again and again, the sentence is always the same: more anxiety, more regret, more sleeplessness. We do this because we have a deep-seated, magical belief that if we think about the past hard enough, if we punish ourselves for it sufficiently, we can somehow change it. But we cannot. It is an impossible task, and the effort it consumes is the very energy your body and mind need to heal and to rest. Imagine, if you will, that you have been walking all day, every day of your life, with a heavy backpack strapped to your shoulders. It is filled with stones. Feel the weight of it now, digging into your shoulders, straining your back, making every step a struggle. Now, in your mind's eye, take a moment to stop walking. Gently shrug the straps off your shoulders and let the backpack slide to the ground. Hear the heavy, satisfying thud as it hits the earth. Kneel down and open it. Look inside. Each stone is smooth and heavy, and each one has a label. You pick one up. This one is from 10 years ago, a mistake you made that hurt someone you cared about. You've been carrying its weight ever since. You pick up another, smaller stone. It's an unkind word you spoke just yesterday, born of stress and fatigue. Here is another, a large, jagged rock of anger towards someone who wronged you long ago. An anger that hurts you far more than it ever hurt them. Another stone is a missed opportunity, a path not taken, heavy with the ghosts of what if. The backpack is full of them. Look at this collection. This is the luggage of yesterday. You have carried it faithfully for so long. But now, I ask you a simple question. Do you need to pick it back up? The events that created these stones are over. They are finished. They exist now only in your mind, and in the tension in your muscles from carrying this pointless weight. The past has no power over you in this present moment. None at all. The only power it has is the power you grant it, by continually inviting it into your awareness, by choosing to pick up that backpack again every single morning. Tonight, you have the opportunity to leave it on the ground, to walk away, lighter, to understand that your identity is not defined by the heaviest stones in your bag. You are the sky, not the clouds that have passed through it. The person you were 10 years ago, or 10 minutes ago, is not the person you are right now. In this moment, learning to let go, you did the best you could then, with the knowledge, wisdom, and resources you had at the time. To punish yourself now for a past self's limitations is a cruel and fruitless exercise. This is where the practice of forgiveness becomes not just a spiritual ideal, but a deeply practical tool for peace. And it must begin with yourself. Think of how you would treat a dear friend who came to you, heartbroken over a mistake they had made. Would you look them in the eye and list all their flaws? Would you remind them of their failure every single night? Would you tell them they are unworthy of rest because of what they did? Of course not. You would offer them comfort. You would say, "It's okay. You made a mistake. You are human. That is part of the journey. You have learned from it. Now, you must let it go. You deserve peace. Can you offer this same profound, unconditional compassion to yourself? Can you become your own dear friend? Right now, you can place a hand on your own heart and whisper these words to yourself. Forgive yourself for not knowing then what you know now. Forgive yourself for being imperfect. By forgiving, you are not saying that what happened was okay. You are simply cutting the rope that tethers you to the heavy weight of the past. You are choosing freedom. There is a timeless story of two Zen monks, one old and one young, who were traveling together on a long pilgrimage. The older monk was named Tanzan, and his spirit was as wide and serene as the sky. The younger monk, Aikido, was zealous and took the monastic rules very seriously. One day, they came to a river that had been swollen by heavy rains. The current was strong and the water was muddy. On the riverbank stood a beautiful young woman in a fine silk kimono, looking distressed. She was clearly unable to cross without ruining her clothes and being swept away. The young monk, Aikido, immediately averted his gaze. Their vows were explicit. They were never to touch a woman, or even look at one for too long. He stood there, rigid and righteous, pretending she didn't exist. The older monk, Danzan, simply observed the situation. Without a word, he walked up to the young woman, hoisted her into his arms, and carried her across the turbulent river. He placed her down gently on the far bank. She bowed deeply in gratitude, and he and Aikido continued on their journey. For the rest of the day, Aikido was a storm of inner turmoil. He walked in seething silence behind his master. His mind was racing. He broke our most sacred vow. He touched a woman. He held her in his arms. How could he be so undisciplined? He is a disgrace. He replayed the scene 100 times, his judgment growing hotter with every step. The air between them was thick with his unexpressed rage. Finally, as dusk began to fall and they approached a temple where they would spend the night, Aikido could contain himself no longer. He stopped, turned to his master, and burst out, "Tanzan, I have to ask you. We monks are forbidden from going near women, especially a young and lovely one like that. It is dangerous for our practice. Why did you do that? Why did you carry her across the river?" Tanzan looked at his young, agitated companion. His face showed no guilt, no defensiveness, only a deep, gentle amusement. A soft smile touched his lips. "Oh, that woman," he said, his voice calm. "I put her down hours ago on the other side of the river. Why are you still carrying her tonight?" The invitation is to ask yourself this same question. What are you still carrying? What argument? What mistake? What regret is your woman at the river? The event is long over. The person in question has moved on with their life. The only place the drama is still happening is inside your head. You have the power to put her down, to put the backpack of stones down, to leave yesterday's luggage on the platform of the past. Let it go. Feel the lightness in your shoulders. Feel the freedom in your heart. And as you release your grip on what has already been, you may notice your mind immediately tries to grasp onto the next thing, what is yet to come. You have laid down the heavy luggage of yesterday. You have forgiven yourself. And in doing so, you have untethered yourself from the ghosts of the past. A great lightness may be felt in this, but the mind is a creature of habit. Having been freed from the prison of what has been, its immediate impulse is to fly forward into the prison of what is yet to come. The film projectionist who was endlessly rewinding the past now starts showing trailers for 1,000 different futures, and almost all of them are horror films. This is the realm of worry, the land of the unbuilt bridge. Your mind, in its cleverness and its anxiety, is a master architect all through the night. It works tirelessly, not to rest, but to construct elaborate bridges. It builds a bridge from this peaceful moment directly into your work meeting tomorrow morning. It forces you to walk across this imaginary bridge, rehearsing every possible negative outcome, every critical question, every way you might fail. No sooner have you crossed that bridge than the mind dismantles it and builds another, this one leading to a difficult conversation you need to have next week. Again, you are forced to walk it, to feel the anxiety, to taste the fear. It builds bridges to financial troubles, to health scares, to the quiet disappointment of others. These bridges are built from the flimsy materials of speculation, but they feel terrifyingly real, and you spend the precious, quiet hours of the night, hours that are meant for deep restoration, engaged in the exhausting work of building and crossing these bridges to nowhere, suffering calamities that have not happened and may never happen. There is a simple, powerful analogy for this process. Worrying is like paying interest on a debt you may never have to borrow. Think about that in this very moment. Your only real, tangible assets are your peace, your stillness, and your potential for rest. Worry is a transaction. It asks you to spend those real, precious assets right now. And what do you get in return? The imaginary, potential relief from a future problem. It is a terrible bargain, one that a wise merchant would never make. You are giving away your present moment peace for free, in service of a future that does not exist. The mind's loan shark whispers that if you just pay enough interest now, in the currency of anxiety, you can somehow control the future, but you cannot. All this frantic, nocturnal activity does not change tomorrow one bit. It only ruins tonight. The antidote is simple, though it requires gentle, persiste practice. It is the practice of recognizing when you are time traveling, the moment you notice that your mind is no longer in this bed, in this room, but has traveled across an unbuilt bridge into tomorrow. You have already taken the first and most important step. You have become aware. In that moment of awareness, you can make a choice. You can choose to come home, gently, without judgment. Invite your attention back to the physical reality of this moment. The future is a thought, but the feeling of the blanket on your skin that is real. Bring your full attention to it. The difficult conversation tomorrow is an illusion, but the weight of your head on the pillow that is real. Rest in that solid sensation. The 1,000 things that could go wrong are a fantasy, but the soft, gentle rhythm of your own breathing, flowing in and out, that is real. That is your anchor to the now. Each time your mind darts off to the future, gently, kindly, escort it back to one of these physical anchors, back to the breath, back to the body. This is not a fight. It is a gentle, persistent redirection, a compassionate guidance of a mind that has simply lost its way. The only moment you have any power in is this one, right here, right now, and the most profound, powerful, and healing use of this moment is not to worry, but to rest, to give your body the gift of stillness, to give your mind the gift of peace. You are not meant to solve tomorrow's problems tonight. You are meant to gather your strength, to heal, to restore, so that when tomorrow actually arrives, you can meet it with presence and clarity, not with the exhaustion born of a night spent fighting shadows. There is an old story of a farmer who was a good man and a hard worker, but he lived his entire life in a state of self-imposed misery. He was a master worrier. As he planted his seeds in the spring, he would think, if the sun shines too brightly, my delicate seedlings will wither and turn to dust. But if it doesn't shine enough, they will never grow strong. When the rains came, he would fret, if it rains too much, my fields will turn to mud and the roots of my crops will rot. But if it rains too little, the ground will crack and they will all die of thirst. As the harvest approached, his anxiety reached a fever pitch. If my harvest is poor, my family will starve through the winter. But if, by some miracle, my harvest is bountiful, then surely thieves will see my good fortune and come in the night to steal it all from my barn. For the worried farmer, every possible future, good or bad, led to ruin. His life was a constant torment of what if. One day, his friend, a potter who was known for his contented nature, came to visit. He found the farmer pacing by his fields, his face a mask of anxiety. The potter listened patiently as the farmer unleashed his litany of fears, a storm cloud of potential calamities. When the farmer was finished, the potter did not offer simple reassurances. He looked at his friend with deep compassion and said, "My friend, you are suffering deeply, but you are suffering from floods that have not happened and from thieves who are not here. You are living in a dozen dreadful futures, and you are missing the only thing that is real. This good earth beneath your feet and this fine afternoon sun on your face." "But I must be prepared," the farmer protested. "To not worry would be foolish." The potter smiled gently and picked up a handful of rich soil. "You cannot control the sun," he said, letting the soil run through his fingers. "You cannot control the clouds or the rain. You cannot control the wind. And you certainly cannot control the hearts of thieves. To try and control these things is the very definition of madness. It is a battle you will never win." He looked the farmer in the eye. "You have true power over only two things: the quality of the seed you choose to plant, and the care and attention you give to your fields each day. Stop trying to control the harvest. That is in the future. Instead, pour all of your energy and your heart into what you can do now. Plant the very best seeds. Tend to your fields today with all your love. That is all you can do. The harvest will be what it will be. Your worry changes nothing about the weather, but it changes everything about the weather inside your own heart. Tonight, you are that farmer. Tomorrow is the harvest. Your anxious thoughts are your attempts to control the sun and the rain. The potter's wisdom is the invitation for you now. Let go of the harvest. You cannot control it from here. Your only task is to tend to the field of this present moment. The wisest way to do that is to plant the seed of rest, to water it with the stillness of your body and the quiet of your mind. By letting go of yesterday's heavy luggage, and by refusing to build a bridge to tomorrow's anxieties, you find yourself in a very unique and powerful place. You are floating, untethered, in the pure, simple space of the present moment. There is no past. There is no future. There is only this, and in this spaciousness, a deeper question can arise. If you are not your past stories, and you are not your future worries, then who or what are you? You are floating in the present moment. The heavy luggage of the past has been left behind on a distant shore. The frantic, unbuilt bridges to the future have been dissolved by your awareness. You are here, simply here, and in this spaciousness, we can gently approach one of the deepest and most profound questions of all. You have let go of what you have done, and you have let go of what you might do. So who, then, is this I that is left? Who is this self that sits at the very center of your universe? The one who feels pleasure and pain, the one who is trying so desperately to fall asleep for our entire lives. We operate from the assumption that there is a solid, continuous, and very important me at the controls, a king or a queen on a throne inside our heads. When a pleasant thought arrives, the king says, "This is my good thought." When a painful sensation arises, the queen says, "This is my terrible pain." When someone praises us, the I swells with pride. When someone insults us, the I feels wounded and attacked. This central I is the ultimate reference point for every single experience. And because we believe so strongly in its existence and its importance, we are in a constant state of defense, a constant state of reactivity. We spend our lives protecting and polishing this fragile sense of self. But what if this central I was not as solid as we believe? What if it was more of a process than a thing? More of a story than a solid entity? This is a subtle and profound idea, and it is best explored not through logic, but through a story, a journey for your imagination. I invite you now to imagine yourself in a small, sturdy boat. You are gliding peacefully along a wide, slow-moving river. The morning is still, and a thick, dense fog blankets everything. It is a world of soft, grey silence. You can only see a few feet in any direction. The water laps gently against the side of your boat. The air is cool and damp on your skin. You are alone, but you are at peace, drifting in this mysterious, silent world. Suddenly, out of the grey mist, there is a loud thud and a jarring jolt. Another boat has struck yours. Your peace is shattered. Instantly, a surge of hot anger rises in your chest. Your heart begins to pound. Your mind, in a fraction of a second, creates a story. Some careless fool, some inconsiderate idiot, rowing recklessly through the fog. They didn't even shout a warning. They could have damaged my boat. They could have thrown me into the cold water. You feel utterly wronged. This is a personal affront. You stand up in your boat, your fists clenched, and you shout into the impenetrable fog. "Hey, watch where you're going. What's the matter with you?" you shout. And your angry words are swallowed by the mist. You wait for an apology, an excuse, any response at all, but there is only silence. As you stand there, fuming with righteous indignation, a gentle breeze begins to stir. The fog, like a great curtain, begins to swirl and thin. It pulls apart in wisps and ribbons, and as the view clears, the other boat is revealed, and you see that there is no one in it. There is no careless fool. There is no inconsiderate idiot. It is an empty boat, its rope having come untied from a post upstream, and it is simply drifting, silently, carried along by the same current that is carrying you. It is just a thing that has happened. Now, in this moment of revelation, I ask you, where does your anger go in the face of an empty boat? The anger has nowhere to land. It vanishes. It evaporates into the clearing mist. The event itself has not changed. Your boat was still struck. The jolt was still real. But the target of your anger, the someone who had wronged me, has been revealed as an illusion, and without a target, the anger cannot survive. It was never really about the boat hitting you. It was about the story you told yourself about a person hitting you. The anger was born from the assumption of an actor, a malicious or careless will. When that is gone, only the simple fact of the event remains, and you are free. Now, let us bring this profound lesson into this very room, into this very bed. All night long, boats have been bumping into you in the fog. A sudden, anxious thought about work that is a boat bumping into you. A memory filled with regret that is another boat. A physical pain in your back or your shoulder that is a boat. The very thought, I cannot sleep, is a large, heavy boat that keeps bumping into you again and again. And each time, our habit is to react as if there is a captain in that boat, a malicious will that is personally attacking us. We get angry at our anxiety. We feel ashamed of our memories. We become frustrated with our pain. We get desperate and angry with our own wakefulness. We create a someone to be angry at, and that someone is usually ourselves. Why can't I get this right? But what if all these things, the thoughts, the feelings, the sensations, the state of being awake are just empty boats? They have come unmoored from the great river of life, and they are simply drifting through the fog of your consciousness. The anxious thought doesn't have a captain trying to torment you. It is an empty boat. The pain in your body is not a punishment. It is an empty boat. A simple physical signal. Even the critical voices of others, or the critical voice in your own head, can be seen in this way. They are the product of other people's currents, other people's fogs. They are empty boats bumping into you. If you don't take it personally, it has no power to create anger or suffering. It is just a bump in the night. When you can see this, truly see this, a revolutionary shift happens. You stop being the victim at the center of the universe. You are no longer the righteous king or queen on the throne, being constantly assaulted. You are simply an awareness, resting in a small boat, observing other boats drift by. Some of them bump into you, and you notice the bump. You steady yourself, and you let them drift on. There is no one to blame. There is nothing to fight. There is no me that is failing. There is just this experience unfolding. Wakefulness is here. A thought is here. A feeling is here. All of it is just drifting on the river. By taking the I out of the equation, you take the fuel away from the fire of your own suffering. And in that spaciousness, in that freedom from taking everything so personally, a deep and unshakable peace has a chance to be born. It is the peace of the empty boat, a peace that is not disturbed by the inevitable bumps and jolts of life. And with this understanding, we can now look upon the very nature of judgment itself, both from within and from without, in a completely new light. You are floating in your empty boat, on the quiet river of the present moment. You have seen that the boats of thought and feeling which drift by and occasionally bump into you are ownerless. They are phenomena, not personal attacks. This understanding brings a great sense of freedom, but even as you rest in this freedom, you may notice one particularly persistent boat. one that seems to follow you, bumping into you again and again. It is the boat of judgment. It carries a heavy cargo of shoulds and should nots. It whispers that some thoughts are good and some are bad. It insists that some feelings are right and others are wrong. And its harshest judgment is often reserved for your current situation. You should be asleep. The fact that you are not means you are failing. Inside each of us, there resides a tireless inner critic, a sleepless judge who presides over the courtroom of our mind. This judge has a gavel, and it uses it liberally. It passes judgment on your feelings. You shouldn't be so anxious. You have nothing to worry about. It passes judgment on your thoughts. Why are you thinking such negative things? You need to be more positive. It passes judgment on your past actions and on your future plans. And tonight, it sits in its high tower, looking down upon you, and it delivers its verdict on your wakefulness, finding you guilty of not sleeping. This inner critic may believe it is helping, that its harsh judgments will somehow whip you into shape, but in reality, it is the source of our deepest suffering. It is a voice that pours fuel on the fire of our anxiety, a pressure that makes the gentle act of falling asleep feel like a high-stakes performance that we are failing. Tonight, we are going to offer this judge a new role. We are going to gently relieve it of its duties. And you, the awareness that is listening to these words, will step into a new position. Imagine that your mind is a great, ancient city, surrounded by a high wall. At the main entrance, there is a large, ornate gate. Your new role is not the judge in the tower, but the silent gatekeeper. Your job is not to fight anyone. It is not to decide who is worthy to enter and who must be cast out. You are not a guard, nor a bouncer. Your sole function is to be present, to be aware, and to simply, silently, notice who and what passes through the gate. Stand at your post now. Be still and watchful. Soon, a frantic merchant named Worry will hurry towards the gate, his cart overflowing with anxious futures. As the gatekeeper, you do not try to block his path. You do not argue with him about the quality of his goods. You simply stand by the gate and note in your awareness, Worry is passing through. A few moments later, a hunched figure in a dark cloak, the poet of regret, shuffles towards the gate, muttering about the past. You do not engage him in conversation or try to cheer him up. You simply note, Regit is here. A parade of different thoughts and feelings will approach the gate. A fleeting joy, a pang of loneliness, a flicker of a pleasant memory. To all of them, your response is the same, a silent, non-judgmental recognition of their presence. And then, you see a familiar figure approaching. It is the judge, the inner critic, storming towards the gate, red-faced and furious that it has been relieved of its post. It stands before you and begins to shout its judgments. You are a terrible gatekeeper. You are letting everyone in. You should be fighting these negative thoughts. You are failing at this practice. Just like you are failing at sleeping, the critic is offering you its familiar, toxic cargo. As the silent gatekeeper, what do? You do not defend yourself. You do not argue back. You do not believe the story. You simply stand in your quiet dignity and you note, with the same calm impartiality, the thought of judgment is here. The feeling of anger is here. You see it for what it is, just another visitor passing through the gate. This is the secret to disarming the inner critic. It thrives on engagement. It needs you to believe its accusations. It needs you to feel ashamed. It needs you to argue back, because a good argument gives it energy and purpose. When you simply see it as a passing phenomenon, as judgmental thought, you are refusing to play its game. You are letting it shout into the void, and a voice that is never listened to, never believed, eventually grows hoarse and quiet. Its power begins to fade. True self-kindness is not about forcing yourself to think happy thoughts. It is the radical, courageous act of allowing all visitors to pass through the gate of your mind without condemnation. It is the spacious, accepting, and silent heart of the gatekeeper. The Buddha was once teaching a group of people when a man from the crowd pushed his way forward. He was filled with anger and skepticism, and he began to insult the Buddha with a torrent of hateful words. He called him a fraud, a fake, a lazy teacher who was fooling the people. He insulted everything about him. The crowd grew restless and angry at the man's disrespect, but the Buddha remained perfectly calm. He did not say a word in his own defense. He simply sat in a state of profound, unwavering stillness, listening to the man with the same open attention he would give to the sound of the wind in the trees. When the man had finally exhausted himself and run out of insults, he stood panting, spent from his own rage. A tense silence fell. The Buddha then looked at the man, his eyes full of a soft, gentle compassion, and he asked him a simple question. "My friend," he said, his voice quiet and clear, "if you purchase a gift for someone, and you go to their house and you offer it to them, but that person does not accept your gift, to whom, then, does the gift belong?" The man was taken aback by the strange question. He thought for a moment and replied, "Well, if they don't accept it, then it still belongs to me. It's my gift." The Buddha nodded and smiled, one of the most gentle smiles. "Exactly," he said, "and so it is today. You have come here and you have offered me the gift of your anger and your many insults. I have listened, as you can see, but I do not accept your gift." The Buddha then turned back to the crowd and seamlessly resumed his teaching on loving kindness. The man was left standing there, utterly speechless, still holding his now unwanted gift of anger, its poison now only his to drink. Tonight, your inner critic is that man, repeatedly trying to hand you the toxic gift of its judgment. You are not good enough. You are failing. Each one is a gift being offered, and for your whole life, you have been trained to accept these gifts without question. You take them, you believe them, and you suffer from their poison. The practice of the silent gatekeeper is the practice of learning to politely refuse the gift. You see the judgment being offered, and you say, silently and internally, "Thank you for the offer, but I do not accept this gift." You let the critic keep his own poison. You do not have to take it into your system. You can let it pass by the gate, untouched, unaccepted, as you practice this gentle refusal, this silent, non-judgmental observation. Something remarkable begins to happen. The inner space of your mind begins to clear. The noise of the courtroom fades. The air becomes cleaner, fresher, when the ground of the mind is no longer choked with the weeds of judgment. Something new and beautiful has the space to grow. In this clear, open, and accepting silence, the delicate flower of gratitude can, quite naturally, begin to blossom. You are the silent gatekeeper, standing at the entrance to your own mind. You have learned to let the visitors of thought and feeling pass by without needing to fight them, without needing to believe them, and without needing to accept their toxic gifts of judgment. A great, spacious quiet has begun to settle in the city of your mind. The ground has been cleared, the air is fresh, and into this clear, fertile space, we can now consciously choose to plant a beautiful and powerful seed. It is the seed of gratitude. The mind, by its very nature and for its own survival, is a scarcity detector. It is constantly scanning your life and your environment for what is wrong, what is broken, what is missing. It is an expert at finding the one thing that is lacking. And tonight, what it has detected as lacking is sleep. It magnifies this lack until it becomes your entire world. It screams, "We don't have sleep, this is a disaster, nothing else matters," and we believe it. But this is a distorted view. It is like standing before a magnificent feast, laden with 1,000 delicious dishes, and complaining bitterly because there is no salt. The practice of gratitude is the gentle, deliberate act of turning your attention away from the missing salt shaker and allowing yourself to behold the feast that is spread before you. Right here, right now, it is a quiet revolution against the tyranny of not enough. Let us begin with the simplest of treasures. Bring your attention to the bed that is holding you. Feel the mattress beneath you, supporting your weight completely. It does not ask for anything in return. It is simply here, holding you. Feel the pillow that is cradling your head, a soft and gentle support. Feel the sheets and the blankets that are covering you. Notice their texture, their weight, the sense of warmth and security they provide. This is not a small thing. To be held, to be supported, to be warm for a moment. Consider the immense chain of causes and conditions that had to occur for you to be lying in this comfortable bed tonight. Think of the people who designed it, the factory workers who assembled it, the truck drivers who transported it. Think of the farmers who grew the cotton for your sheets. Your present comfort is resting upon a vast, invisible network of human effort. Feel a quiet wave of appreciation for this simple, profound gift of comfort. Now, expand your awareness to the room that surrounds you, to the walls and the ceiling that form a safe and solid shelter. Outside these walls, there may be wind, or rain, or cold, but in here, you are protected. You are safe from the elements. This shelter, this simple room, is a fortress of peace. Appreciate the quiet, even if there are small sounds. As we have discovered, notice the relative stillness compared to the noise and rush of the day. The world has gone to sleep, and it has left you with this gift of quiet. Consider the miracle of clean water, available to you with just a few steps. Consider the magic of electricity, a silent servant waiting to bring you light at the flick of a switch. We take these things for granted until they are gone. But tonight, we can choose to see them as they are immense privileges, treasures of a simple, modern life. Let the feeling of gratitude for this safe, comfortable space fill you. And now, let us turn our attention to the greatest treasure of all, one so close we almost never notice it. Turn your awareness to your own body, this body which you may have been at war with tonight. which you may have been cursing for its wakefulness. Let us look at it now through the eyes of gratitude. Even if there is pain or discomfort, let us for a moment appreciate what is still working, what is still miraculously right. Bring your attention to your heart, beating steadily in your chest. Boom, 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 boom. It has been doing this every second of every minute of every day of your entire life, without a single conscious command from you. It is a faithful, tireless drum, beating out the rhythm of your life. Feel a sense of awe and gratitude for this incredible muscle, this engine of your being. Now, notice your lungs, gently rising and falling. They draw in the air of the world, extracting the oxygen that nourishes every single cell in your body, and then they release what is no longer needed. This constant, effortless exchange, this dance of giving and receiving, is a profound gift. Appreciate your senses, the ability of your ears to hear these words, the ability of your skin to feel the softness of the sheets. This body, in all its imperfection, is a miracle of biological engineering, a faithful servant that is doing its absolute best to keep you alive. Let a feeling of gratitude, of truce, of friendship spread through you for this precious body. You see, gratitude changes the entire frequency of your being. A mind focused on lack vibrates with anxiety, frustration, and fear. A mind steeped in gratitude vibrates with contentment, peace, and a sense of fullness. It is not about pretending that problems don't exist. It is about consciously choosing to focus on the vast ocean of what is good and right and supportive, rather than on the small island of what is wrong. There is a tale of a king who had every material object he could ever desire. His palaces were vast, his treasuries were overflowing, and his feasts were the envy of the world. Yet, he was a miserable man. He lived in a constant state of anxiety, worried about losing his wealth, suspicious of his courtiers, and always feeling that something was missing. From his balcony, he would often watch a very poor man who lived in a tiny hut at the edge of the city. The man had almost nothing, yet he sang as he mended his fishing nets in the afternoon, and the king could hear his laughter as he played with his children in the evening. The man's happiness was a deep mystery and an insult to the king. One day, the king could stand it no longer. He summoned the poor man to the palace. "How is it," the king demanded, "that you, with nothing to your name, are so filled with joy, while I, the ruler of this entire land, am so deeply unhappy? Tell me your secret, or I will throw you in the dungeon." The poor man smiled a gentle, unafraid smile. "Your Majesty," he said, "my secret is very simple. I do not have one secret. I have three. My first secret is that I am grateful for everything I do not have. I have no vast treasury, so I have no fear of it being stolen. I have no political power, so I have no fear of being betrayed by rivals. My simple life is my protection. My second secret," he continued, "is that I am profoundly grateful for what I do have. Right now, in this moment, today, the sun warmed my face. I had a bowl of rice to eat. My children are healthy. This is a feast. I do not worry if I will have a bowl of rice tomorrow. If I do, I will be grateful then. Today's gratitude is for today's gifts, And my third and most important secret, Your Majesty, the man said, his eyes shining, is that I am grateful for the one treasure that we both share. Though you have forgotten it, I am grateful for my own breath. With every breath I take, I am given the gift of life. Again and again, it costs nothing, and yet it is more valuable than all the gold in your treasury. As long as I am breathing, I am unspeakably rich. How could I not be happy? The king sat in stunned silence, humbled by the wisdom of a man who owned nothing, yet possessed everything. Tonight, you can be that wise man. You can let go of the king's poverty of spirit. You can choose to see the immense riches that are already yours. The safety of your bed, the quiet of the night, the miracle of your own breathing body. Allow this feeling of gratitude, this quiet, warm, and gentle fullness to settle in your heart. Feel it as a gentle warmth spreading through your chest. This is the feeling of abundance. It is the peace of enough. And when your own heart is full to the brim with this gentle appreciation, it naturally, effortlessly, begins to overflow. A full heart cannot help but wish well for others. And so, from this place of deep gratitude, we can now take the next step, opening the door of our heart just a little wider to the practice of loving kindness. Your heart is resting in the warm and gentle light of gratitude. You have recognized the immense, quiet feast of treasures that surrounds you and is within you in this very moment. This feeling of appreciation has softened the ground of your heart, making it fertile and receptive. From this place of fullness, we can now begin the practice of actively planting seeds of kindness. And the first and most crucial place to plant these seeds is in the soil of your own being. This is the practice of metta, or loving kindness, and it begins at home, with you. For so much of our lives, we are taught that focusing on ourselves is selfish. We become experts at offering compassion to others. We can feel deeply for a friend in pain, for a struggling family member, or even for a stranger suffering on the other side of the world. Yet, when it comes to ourselves, our hearts often become hard and cold. The inner critic we met earlier is a harsh and unforgiving master. It holds us to impossible standards and berates us for our human imperfections. We would never speak to a friend the way we often speak to ourselves, in the silence of our own minds. Tonight, we will learn to offer ourselves the same gentle, unconditional friendship that we so freely offer to others. This is not an act of indulgence or vanity. It is a necessary act of healing. We cannot pour water for others from a cup that is empty. This practice is about filling your own cup to the brim with the warm, nourishing water of kindness. Bring your attention, once again, to the area around your heart. In the center of your chest, imagine a small, warm, golden light glowing there, like the gentle flame of a candle. This is the light of your awareness, the warmth of your gratitude. We are now going to nurture this flame with gentle words, with whispers of kindness. These phrases are not affirmations that you must force yourself to believe. They are wishes, they are intentions, they are like planting seeds. You do not force a seed to grow, you simply place it in fertile soil and offer it water and light. Let us begin. As you breathe in, gather your attention, and as you breathe out, silently offer the first phrase to yourself. May I be safe. Feel the intention of this wish. May I be safe from outer harm. and from the inner harm of my own critical thoughts. May I feel safe and secure in this bed, in this room, in this very moment. Let the feeling of safety, like a warm blanket, wrap around you. May I be healthy. Offer this wish to your body and your mind. May my body be healthy and strong, finding the rest and restoration it needs. May my mind be healthy, free from the disease of agitation and fear. This is a gentle wish for well-being in every part of your being. May I be free from suffering. Acknowledge the suffering you feel tonight, the frustration, the anxiety, the loneliness of being awake. And now, offer yourself this profound wish. May I be free from the struggle. May I be free from the self-inflicted suffering of judgment and resistance. May the grip of this difficulty loosen. May I be happy and at ease. This is not a wish for giddy excitement, but for a deep, abiding happiness, the quiet contentment of a peaceful heart. May I be at ease with myself, just as I am. May I be at ease with the unfolding of this night. Whatever it may bring, let the feeling of ease, of letting go, of deep relaxation settle into your bones. Let us continue to sit with these phrases, allowing them to sink in, watering the seeds of kindness in your heart. You can repeat them in rhythm with your breath. Breathing in, a quiet pause. Breathing out, may I be safe. Breathing in, breathing out, may I be healthy. Breathing in, breathing out, may I be free from suffering. Breathing in, breathing out, may I be happy and at ease. Continue this for a few moments, letting the words become a soothing, gentle mantra, a lullaby for your own heart. Feel the golden light in your chest growing a little warmer, a little brighter, with each repetition. As you do this, another visitor may arrive at the gate of your mind. It is the visitor of unworthiness. It may whisper, "I don't deserve this. I have made too many mistakes. I am not good enough to receive this kindness." This is the inner critic's last defense. Acknowledge this visitor. The thought of unworthiness is here. And then, let us meet it with the highest authority on this matter, the Buddha, the enlightened one. After his own deep search into the nature of the universe and the heart, gave this direct teaching. He said, "You can search throughout the entire universe for someone who is more deserving of your love and affection than you are yourself. And that person is not to be found anywhere." Let those words sink in. The wisest of teachers has given you a direct instruction. The search for someone more deserving than you is futile. It is a search that will last forever and yield no results. He was not encouraging arrogance or selfishness. He was stating a fundamental truth about the nature of a healthy mind. It must be grounded in a stable, loving friendship with itself. He then concluded with this definitive statement, a final word to silence all our feelings of unworthiness. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. This is your birthright. It is not something you have to earn. It is not a reward for good behavior or for successfully falling asleep. It is the unconditional medicine your heart needs. And it is most needed precisely in moments of difficulty like this. You deserve your own compassion simply because you are a human being who suffers. That is the only qualification required. So now, with this profound permission, let us return to the phrases, and this time, offer them with even greater conviction. with the full understanding that you are deeply and completely worthy of this care. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be free from all suffering. May I be happy, peaceful, and at ease. Feel the warmth now spreading from your heart, down into your belly, out through your shoulders and arms, down through your legs and feet. Imagine your entire body being held in this warm, glowing light of loving kindness. You are bathing yourself in compassion. You are becoming your own sanctuary, your own safe harbor. There is no need to seek comfort outside of yourself. You are generating it from within. You are filling your own cup, and as this cup fills to the very brim, a natural and beautiful thing begins to happen. It begins to overflow. A heart that is filled with so much warmth and kindness cannot contain it all. It naturally wishes to share this light, this peace, with others, and from this full and overflowing heart, we are now perfectly prepared to expand the circle of our compassion, to radiate this loving kindness outwards to the world. Your heart is a cup, full and overflowing with the warm light of loving kindness for yourself. You have acknowledged your own worthiness, and you are resting in a state of gentle, compassionate friendship with your own being. A lamp that has been lit does not hoard its light. It naturally, effortlessly radiates outwards, illuminating everything around it. And so it is with a heart filled with metta. It cannot be contained. From this full and stable center, we can now begin to share this warmth, to extend this kindness outwards in ever-widening circles, embracing the entire world in our benevolent wish. First, bring to mind a person for whom you feel easy, uncomplicated love and appreciation. This could be a dear friend, a beloved family member, a respected teacher, or even a cherished pet. Picture them clearly in your mind's eye. See their face, their smile. Feel the warmth and affection you have for them. Now, just as you did for yourself, begin to offer them the same wishes, directing the light from your heart towards them. May you be safe. Silently wish for them to be protected from all harm, both inner and outer. May they be safe and secure in their lives. May you be healthy. Wish for them to have a body that is strong and a mind that is clear. May they be free from pain and illness. May you be free from suffering. Wish for them to be free from their own unique struggles, their own anxieties and sorrows. May their burdens be light. May you be happy and at ease. Sincerely wish for them to experience deep joy, contentment, and a profound sense of peace. Feel this benevolent wish flowing from you to them, a current of pure, unconditional goodwill. Take a few moments to rest here, basking in the simple joy of wishing well for someone you love. Now, let us stretch the muscle of our heart just a little further. Bring to mind a person for whom you feel neutral. This might be a cashier you see at the grocery store, a person you nod to on your commute, a distant collègue, someone who exists in your life, but for whom you feel neither particular like nor dislike. Picture this neutral person in your mind. At first, it may feel strange, but remember that this person, just like you, and just like your dear friend, has a heart that wishes for happiness and peace. They have their own struggles, their own secret sorrows, their own hopes and dreams. Recognizing this shared humanity, now offer them the same gentle phrases. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be free from suffering. May you be happy and at ease. Notice how this feels. This practice begins to break down the invisible walls of indifference we build around ourselves. It acknowledges the simple truth that every being, not just those in our inner circle, is worthy of a fundamental wish for well-being. Now comes the most challenging, and perhaps the most liberating, stage of this practice. I invite you to bring to mind someone with whom you have difficulty. It does not need to be the source of your greatest trauma, but perhaps someone whose words have hurt you, whose actions have caused you difficulty. As you bring this person to mind, be aware that your first instinct may be to recoil, for the heart to harden. This is natural. The purpose of this next step is not to condone their harmful actions, nor is it to force a superficial forgiveness. This is a practice for your freedom. Holding on to anger, resentment, and hatred is like holding a hot coal in your hand with the intent of throwing it at someone else. In the end, you are the one who gets burned. Offering this person metta is the act of gently opening your hand and dropping the hot coal, not for their sake, but for yours, so that your own heart may be unburdened and healed. See this person and acknowledge, just like me, this person is seeking happiness. Just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering. Often, it is a person's own deep suffering that causes them to act in ways that harm others. With this understanding, as best you can, offer them the phrases, "May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be free from the suffering that causes you to bring suffering to others. May you find true happiness and peace." If this feels too difficult, it is perfectly okay. You can simply wish, "May I be free from the suffering caused by my relationship with this person." The intention is to release the poison from your own heart. Finally, let the circle of your awareness expand without limit. Imagine the light from your heart radiating outwards in all directions. It flows to all the people in your building, in your neighborhood. It flows throughout your entire city, your entire country. It crosses oceans and continents, touching every single person on this planet, young and old, rich and poor, happy and sad. Extend it further to all the creatures of this earth, the birds in the sky, the whales in the deep ocean, the animals in the forest, the insects in the grass, every living thing, and offer this universal, all-embracing wish. May all beings everywhere be safe. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be happy, peaceful, and at ease. Rest in this boundless feeling. In this moment, you have completely dissolved the illusion of loneliness. To be awake in the middle of the night can feel profoundly isolating, as though you are the only person in a world that is asleep. But through this practice, you have connected your heart to every heart. You realize you are not an isolated island, but part of a vast, interconnected web of life. A family of beings who all share the same fundamental desire for peace and happiness. This journey from personal suffering to a sense of shared experience is beautifully told in the story of a woman named Kisa Gotami. She was a young mother in the time of the Buddha, and her entire world revolved around her infant son. When the boy suddenly fell ill and died, her grief was so immense and so absolute that she could not accept it. She believed her suffering was a unique and terrible injustice that had happened only to her. Clutching the small, lifeless body of her child, she ran through her village, frantically begging everyone she met for a medicine that could bring him back to life. The villagers, seeing her consumed by a grief that had unsettled her mind, could only offer her pity. Finally, one wise person suggested she go and see the Buddha. She ran to him, laid her son at his feet, and pleaded with him to perform a miracle. The Buddha, looking at her with boundless compassion, did not dismiss her. He said to her, "I can make the medicine you seek, but to do so, I require one simple ingredient. You must go back into the village and bring me a single mustard seed from a house where no parent, no child, no spouse, no servant has ever died." Kisa Gotami's heart soared with hope. A single mustard seed, that was an easy task. She ran back to the village and went to the first house. "The Buddha has sent me," she said. "I need a mustard seed to make a medicine that will save my son. Can you help me?" "Of course," the woman at the door said, and went to fetch a handful of seeds. As she was about to take them, Kisa Gotami asked the crucial question, "Has anyone in this house ever known death?" The woman's face fell. "Oh, my dear," she said sadly, "you remind me of my deepest sorrow. My beloved husband died just last year." Kisa Gotami, unable to take the seed, went to the next house, and the next, and the next. The story was the same everywhere. One family had lost a child, another had lost a parent, another had lost a dear friend. Everyone was willing to give her a mustard seed, but not a single house was free from the touch of death. As the sun began to set, Kisa Gotami sat by the side of the road, the truth of her journey dawning on her, her intense, private, isolating grief began to soften and dissolve. She realized her pain was not hers alone. It was the pain of all humanity. Every person she had spoken to shared this same vulnerability, this same experience of loss. She was not separate in her sorrow. She was deeply connected to everyone by it. Her heart broke open, not with grief, but with a profound, shared compassion. She understood the Buddha's lesson, and finding a quiet place in the forest, she finally, gently, laid her son to rest. Like Kisa Gotami, our own private suffering can feel like a wall that separates us from the world. But this practice of loving kindness is our journey with the mustard seed. It takes us from door to door of every heart, and we find that the same basic wishes reside everywhere. This profound realization of our interconnectedness, of our shared journey, is the ultimate antidote to loneliness, and it prepares us to understand the very fabric of reality in a new and intimate way. Your heart is overflowing, radiating wishes of kindness and peace to all corners of the universe. In this state of boundless compassion, you have touched upon a profound truth, a secret whispered in the heart of all spiritual traditions. The feeling of connection you have just cultivated is not simply a pleasant emotion or a noble intention. It is a direct perception of the true nature of reality. It is the recognition that the walls you perceive between yourself and the world are far more porous and illusory than you have ever imagined. To explore this, let us embark on a journey with a beautiful and ancient metaphor, the vision of Indra's net. Imagine, stretching out before you in all directions, a vast, cosmic net that extends into the infinite reaches of space. It is a web of shimmering, gossamer threads, woven together in a pattern of perfect harmony and complexity. At every single point where the threads of this net cross, there hangs a single, perfect, multifaceted jewel. There are infinite jewels on this infinite net, each one glittering and brilliant. Now, in your mind's eye, I want you to zoom in on just one of these jewels. It is crystal clear, perfectly polished, and as you gaze into its luminous surface, you see a remarkable sight. Reflected within this single jewel is every other jewel in the entire net. Each and every one, you can see their light, their sparkle, their position in the grand pattern, all contained within the surface of this one jewel. Now, shift your perspective, zoom out, and choose another jewel, far distant from the first. As you gaze into this second jewel, you see the same miraculous reflection. Every other jewel in the universe, including the first one you were just looking at, is perfectly reflected within it. This is the magic of Indra's net. Each jewel contains all the others. In the one, you can see the all, and in the all, you can see the one. Nothing exists in isolation. Everything contains everything else. The slightest quiver of one jewel sends a vibration through the entire net and is felt by all. This net is the universe, and you, in your very being, are one of these brilliant jewels. You are not a separate, isolated entity. Your entire existence is a reflection of the whole universe, and the whole universe is reflected in you. This may sound like a grand and abstract idea, but we can see its simple truth in the most mundane objects around us. Let us contemplate, for a moment, the very pillow that is cradling your head. What is it, you might say? It is a bag of fabric filled with soft stuffing. But let us look deeper, with the eyes of Indra's net. For this pillow to exist, there must be fabric. Let us say it is cotton. For cotton to exist, there must be a cotton plant. For the cotton plant to grow, it needed rain to fall from the sky. So, the cloud is in your pillow. If you take the cloud out of the pillow cannot exist. The cotton plant also needed the sun. The immense, fiery energy of the sun, millions of miles away, was essential for the photosynthesis that allowed the plant to grow. That sunlight is woven into the very fibers of your pillow. The earth itself is in your pillow. The minerals and nutrients from the soil that nourished the plant are now resting beneath your head. But it is not just the elements. A farmer had to plant the seed, tend the fields, and harvest the cotton. The farmer's breakfast that morning, which gave him the energy to work, is in your pillow. The love of his family, which sustained his spirit, is in your pillow. Then, there were the people who transported the cotton, the factory workers who spun the thread, the weavers who made the cloth, the seamstresses who stitched it together. Their breath, their skill, their quiet thoughts as they worked, are all part of the story, part of the fabric of your pillow. The designers, the truck drivers, the shopkeepers, the list is endless. If you remove any one of these elements, any one of these people, any one of these conditions, this pillow on your bed would cease to exist. So, this simple object is not a single, separate thing at all. It is empty of an independent self, but it is full of the entire cosmos. It is the universe, expressing itself for a time as a pillow. And now, turn this same deep looking upon yourself. You are no different. You believe you are a single, separate self. a solid and independent me. But where did this me come from? You are here because of your parents and your grandparents and all your ancestors stretching back through time. They are all in you. The food you ate today is in you, and in that food is the sun, the earth, the rain, and the farmer, the air you are breathing right now. In this very breath is in you. This air has been breathed by trees, by animals, by countless other beings throughout history. You are literally breathing in the world and breathing yourself back out into it. The language you think in, the ideas you have, the music you love, none of it originated with you. It all came from the culture, the world, the universe around you. You are a jewel in Indra's net. Your existence is entirely dependent on and interwoven with the existence of everything else. The concept of being a separate individual is a powerful illusion, a story the mind tells itself. When you truly begin to feel the truth of this interconnectedness, this interbeing, as it has been called, the feeling of loneliness becomes an impossibility. How can you be alone when the cloud and the sun are in your pillow? How can you be isolated when the breath of every living thing is in the air you breathe? You are not a lonely creature in the universe. You are the universe, experiencing itself for a time as you. The earth supporting your bed is not separate from you. It is holding you. The air filling your lungs is not separate from you. It is nourishing you. The silence of the night is not empty. It is the cosmos whispering to you that you belong, that you are an integral and precious part of this vast, shimmering, and miraculous web of existence. Rest in this feeling. Feel the boundaries of your skin begin to soften. Feel the separation between you and the room begin to dissolve. You are not a small, anxious self, trapped in a body, struggling through the night. You are as vast as the net itself. You are a nexus point through which the entire universe flows. There is no need to feel small or afraid. You are being held and supported by everything that is, and from this profound sense of cosmic belonging, of being one with the vast, open space of existence itself, we can now explore the nature of our own awareness, the very sky of our mind. You are a jewel in the infinite net of Indra, reflecting all of existence and having all of existence reflected within you. You are not an island. You are a nexus point of the entire cosmos. Rest in this profound feeling of connection, of belonging to everything, as the sense of a small, separata self begins to dissolve. A natural spaciousness arises. This spaciousness is not something you need to create. You are simply discovering what has been here all along, hidden beneath the stories you've been telling yourself. And this leads us to one of the most powerful and liberating shifts in perspective possible. The realization that you are not the contents of your mind, but the container itself. You are not the weather. You are the sky. Think, for a moment, of your mind as a vast, open, limitless sky, and everything that you experience, everything we have talked about tonight, is simply weather passing through this sky. A thought about the past drifts by like a small, white, puffy cloud. A surge of anxiety about the future appears like a dark, menacing storm front, rumbling with thunder. A sudden physical pain might be a startling bolt of lightning. The endless stream of inner chatter is like the ceaseless, gusting wind. The sounds you hear in the room are like birds flying past. All of these things, your thoughts, your emotions, your sensations, Your memories are temporary phenomena. They arise in the sky of your mind. They stay for a little while, and then, inevitably, they dissolve and pass away. For our entire lives, we have been completely identified with the weather. When the storm of anxiety appears, we say, "I am anxious." We believe we are the storm. When a sad thought drifts by, we say, "I am sad," believing we are the heavy, grey cloud. We are so focused on the lightning and the thunder and the wind that we forget the sky entirely. But let me ask you this: what happens to the sky during a storm? Is the sky harmed by the lightning? Is it stained by the dark clouds? Is it broken by the thunder? No, of course not. The sky is the vast, open, changeless space that allows the storm to happen. The sky is effortlessly present before, during, and after the storm. Its fundamental nature is one of pure, peaceful, accepting spaciousness. The weather is what happens. The sky is what holds it all. The invitation of this practice is to make a radical shift in your identity. It is to stop identifying with the fleeting, changing weather of your experience, and to start recognizing yourself as the vast, changeless sky. You are not the thought. You are the silence in which the thought appears. You are not the feeling of anxiety. You are the calm, open awareness that is noticing the feeling of anxiety. You are not the pain in your body. You are the spaciousness that holds the sensation of pain. This is not just a clever mental trick. It is a direct experience of your true nature. The weather is always limited, always changing. The sky is limitless, boundless, and always at peace. Rest now, as this sky. Feel your own vastness. Allow whatever weather is present to be here. If there are clouds of anxious thought, let them be here. You do not need to push them away. As the sky, you have more than enough room for them. They cannot harm you. If there is the lightning of a sharp pain, or the drizzle of a low mood, just let it be. The sky does not fight the rain. It simply allows it to fall. Your job is not to fix the weather. Your job is to remember that you are the sky. There is a profound rest in this realization. All the exhausting effort of trying to control your thoughts, of fighting your feelings, can be laid down. You are simply the open, accepting space in which your life's weather unfolds. There is a powerful story told of a lion cub whose mother died during childbirth. The orphaned cub was found by a flock of sheep, who, in their simple kindness, adopted him as one of their own. The young lion grew up surrounded by sheep. He learned their ways completely. He learned to bleat in a high, nervous voice. He learned to nibble on grass, though it gave him little strength. He learned to be timid, to fear the slightest strange noise, to huddle together with the flock for safety. He looked at the woolly faces around him and believed he was just like them. He had no memory, no concept of his own true nature. He was a lion who believed, with all his heart, that he was a sheep. One day, a magnificent old lion from the deep forest was hunting and came across this very flock. He was about to charge when he stopped, utterly bewildered. There, in the middle of the terrified, scattering sheep, was a beautiful, powerful young lion, bleating and trying to run away with them. The old lion was first amused, and then annoyed. This was an affront to the dignity of all lions. He charged, not at the sheep, but at the young lion, who ran in terror. The old lion easily caught him and pinned him to the ground. The young lion was bleating pitifully, sure he was about to be killed. The old lion, instead of hurting him, dragged the trembling young lion over to a still, clear lake that was like a perfect mirror. He forced the young lion's head down towards the water, right next to his own. "Look," the old lion roared, his voice shaking the air. For the very first time in his life, the young lion saw his own true reflection. He did not see the soft, fearful face of a sheep. He saw a powerful jaw, fiercer golden eyes, and the beginning of a magnificent mane. Just like the old lion beside him, he saw the face of a king. In that instant, the entire illusion of his life shattered. The sheep consciousness, the years of conditioning, the deeply held belief in his own smallness and weakness. It all evaporated in the light of this one, true seeing. A strange and powerful feeling began to rumble deep in his belly. It rose up through his chest, and the pathetic bleat he was trying to make died in his throat. And for the very first time, he opened his mouth and let out a magnificent, earth-shattering roar. It was the roar of his true nature, a sound of pure power and freedom, echoing across the plains. He was not a sheep, he was a lion, and now he knew it. We are that lion. We have been raised by the sheep of our thoughts, our feelings, and our conditioning. We have learned to believe that we are small, weak, and defined by the fearful bleating of our inner chatter. We have forgotten our own majesty. The practice of mindfulness, of looking deeply into the nature of our own awareness, is the act of being dragged to the lake. The realization that you are the vast, open, changeless sky, and not the fleeting weather, is the moment you see your true reflection. It is the moment you stop bleating and let out your own inner roar of freedom. So rest now. As this sky, rest as this lion who has remembered its true nature. There is nothing to fix. There is no weather you need to change. There is no sheep you need to pretend to be. You can simply rest in the vast, open, peaceful dignity of your own being. And from this place of pure being, a new kind of joy can emerge. A joy that doesn't depend on doing anything at all. You are the vast and peaceful sky. Witnessing the changing weather of your thoughts and feelings, you have remembered your true nature. The spacious, effortless awareness that holds all of your experiences without being harmed by them. You are the lion who has remembered its roar. And what does the sky do? What is the primary action of a lion at rest? Nothing at all. They simply are. And in this state of pure being, we arrive at the final doorway of our journey tonight. The most simple and yet the most profound practice of all the joy of doing nothing our entire lives. In our modern world, we are conditioned to be human doings rather than human beings. Our sense of worth is often measured by our productivity, our accomplishments, our progress. We are addicted to doing. We are always fixing, planning, improving, striving, pushing, and this habit is so deeply ingrained that we bring it with us even to our beds. The one place that is meant for non-doing, we bring this striving energy to the act of rest itself. We try to relax. We work on our breathing. We practice our meditation. We attempt to fall asleep. Do you hear the effort in these words? They are all subtle forms of doing, of trying to get somewhere else. of trying to achieve a result. This is the last and most subtle trick of the restless mind. It turns the very act of letting go into another task to be completed, another goal to be achieved. So now, I offer you the most radical invitation of the night. You have permission to stop. You have permission to let go of everything. All the techniques we have explored tonight, the watching of the breath, the labeling of thoughts, the body scan, the practice of loving kindness, they were all rafts, designed to get you across a turbulent river. But now, you have reached the other shore. You are in a place of deep stillness. You can leave the raft behind. It has served its purpose. You no longer need it. You have permission to do absolutely nothing. There is no need to watch your breath in any special way. Your body knows how to breathe. Let it be. There is no need to label your thoughts or watch them float by on a river. Let them be. There is no need to scan your body for tension. Let it be. There is no need to repeat phrases of kindness. Let your heart be. There is nothing you need to fix. This state of wakefulness is not a problem to be solved. You are not broken. There is no goal. The goal is not to fall asleep. The goal is not even to feel peaceful. The goal, if there is one, is to have no goal at all. To completely and utterly abandon the entire project of self-improvement for the rest of the night. Just be. Lie here and exist. What does that feel like? Can you feel the simple, vibrating energy of being alive in your body? Can you simply listen to the silence in the room? Can you just be the space that you occupy? This is the deepest rest imaginable. It is a rest not just for your body, but for the part of your mind that is always trying. You are giving the doer inside you a complete vacation. You are finally, truly, switching everything to the off position. Rest in this goalless, effortless, choiceless being. There is a story of a great Zen archer, a master whose skill was legendary, but his true mastery was not just in his aim, but in his mind. One day, the local prince, a great lover of contests, heard of the master's skill and summoned him to the capital for a grand exhibition. The prince declared, "An archer of your skill deserves a prize worthy of his art. Whoever can strike the bullseye of that distant target will win this." And he held up a large, magnificent belt buckler, exquisitely crafted from solid gold and studded with gleaming jewels. The Zen master stepped up to the mark. He took a deep breath, nocked an arrow, and raised his bow. But as he looked towards the target, his mind was subtly divided. Part of him saw the target, but another part saw the glittering gold buckle. He thought of the glory of winning. He thought of the shame of missing in front of the entire court. His mind was no longer unified. He was trying to win. A tiny, almost imperceptible tremor went through his hands. His breath was a little tight in his chest. He drew the bowstring, released, and the arrow flew wide, missing the target entirely. The crowd murmured. The master, frowning slightly, tried again and again. His mind was on the prize. And again, the arrow missed. His most senior student, who was watching from the side, understood what was happening. He approached the prince and whispered in his ear. The prince, intrigued, listened to the student's advice. He then stood before the crowd and announced, "The prize for the golden buckle was too great. Let us have a simpler contest." He picked up a plain, worthless clay tile from the ground. "Now," he said, The prize for hitting the bullseye will be this ordinary roof tile. The Zen master stepped up to the line once more. He looked at the distant target, and he glanced at the worthless prize in the prince's hand, and a small smile touched his lips. There was nothing to want. There was no fear of loss. There was no glory to be gained, and no shame in failing to win a piece of clay. His mind was no longer split. He was not an archer trying to win a prize. He was simply an archer. There was only the pure, simple act of shooting. He became one with his breath, one with the bow, one with the arrow. His movements were fluid and effortless. He drew the bow, he breathed, and he released. The arrow flew like a thought and embedded itself, quivering, in the dead center of the bullseye. He did it again, and again, his skill now perfect, released from the prison of his own desire. Later, the master explained to his student, "When the prize was great, my mind was divided. I was focused on the external reward, and my skill became clumsy. When the prize was worthless, there was nothing to strive for, nothing to gain. All that was left was the shooting itself. When you let go of the prize, your true power is set free. Tonight, sleep has become your golden buckle. It is the prize you are striving for with all your might. And because you want it so badly, your mind is divided, your body is tense, and your natural, innate ability to rest is nowhere to be found. The invitation now is to let go of the prize, abandon the contest. Decide that the prize you are shooting for is the worthless clay tile. Rest for the sake of resting. Be awake for the sake of being awake. Do nothing for the sake of doing nothing. Let go of any and all ambition for this night. And in this great letting go, in this profound and total non-doing, you may discover that your full power, the power to truly and deeply rest, has been here all along, just waiting for you to get out of your own way. This total abandonment of effort is the very essence of surrender. You are resting in a state of profound non-doing. You are the sky, witnessing the weather. You are the Zen archer who has given up the prize, and whose true skill has therefore been set free. In this state of effortless being, you stand at the threshold of the final and most complete act of letting go. It is the act of surrender. This word can sometimes feel like admitting defeat, like giving up, but in the context of the inner world, surrender is an act of the highest wisdom and the greatest strength. It is the choice to stop fighting a war you can never win, and to place your trust in an intelligence far deeper and wiser than your conscious mind. Consider, for a moment, the quiet miracles unfolding within your body right now. Without any effort from you, your heart is faithfully pumping blood, nourishing every cell. Your lungs are drawing in the air of the world and releasing what is no longer needed. Your cells are diligently repairing and regenerating themselves. A vast, complex, and deeply intelligent system is operating perfectly, all on its own. You are not telling your heart to beat. You are not commanding your cells to divide. You are not managing your own digestion. An ancient wisdom, encoded in your very DNA, is taking care of all of it. You are the beneficiary of a process so intelligent it is beyond your comprehension. Sleep, too, is a part of this deep, innate wisdom. It is not something your conscious mind, the I that thinks and plans and worries, knows how to do. The conscious mind is actually the biggest obstacle to this natural process. Sleep is the body's own secret medicine, and it administers this medicine when the conditions are right. Your only task is to get your small, controlling, conscious self out of the way and to trust in the profound wisdom of your own organism, to trust that it knows exactly what it is doing, to trust that even this period of quiet wakefulness may be exactly what it needs right now. Surrender is the act of handing the reins back to this deeper intelligence. To feel this surrender in your body, let us use our imagination one last time. Imagine that you are no longer in a bed, but are floating effortlessly on your back in a wide, slow-moving river under a vast, star-filled sky. The water is silky and warm, exactly the same temperature as your skin, so it is difficult to tell where your body ends and the water begins. You look up, and you see the endless, shimmering tapestry of the Milky Way. The air is still and silent, except for the gentle lapping of the water. Now, notice the tendency to hold on, to tense up, to try and paddle or steer, or keep your head above water. This is the habit of control. It is exhausting. Now, make a conscious choice. Let go. Release every single muscle in your body. Trust the water. It is buoyant. It knows how to hold you. Surrender your full weight to its embrace. Feel the water supporting you completely. Effortlessly, feel the gentle, inexorable current of the river carrying you along. You do not need to know where you are going. You do not need to make any effort. Your only task is to float, to be held, to be carried. This is surrender. You are allowing yourself to be moved by a force much larger, much older, and much wiser than your small, separate self. This river is the flow of life, the unfolding of the universe. The night is the river, your bed is the water, and you can let go and be held by it. Just the same, we spend so much of our lives judging the direction of this river, trying to fight the current. We label every twist and turn as either good luck or bad luck, without ever knowing the whole story. There is a timeless Taoist story about an old farmer who lived in a remote village. He was a man of few words and deep equanimity. One morning, his only horse, which he relied upon for ploughing his fields, broke out of its enclosure and ran away into the mountains. His neighbors all came to his house to offer their commiseration. "Oh, what terrible luck," they said, shaking their heads. "Your only horse is gone. You are surely ruined. This is a great misfortune." The old farmer simply looked at them and said calmly, "Maybe." A week later, a strange sight was seen on the horizon. The farmer's horse was returning, and following behind it was a herd of a dozen strong, wild horses. The neighbors, seeing this, rushed back to the farmer's house, their faces full of excitement. "Your bad luck has turned into incredible good fortune," they exclaimed. "You are now a wealthy man with more horses than anyone in the province. What a blessing." The old farmer looked out at the herd of horses, and again, he just said quietly, "Maybe." The farmer's only son, a strong young man, decided he would try to break one of the wild horses. He was a skilled rider, but the horse was powerful and untamed. It threw him to the ground, and the son's leg was badly broken. The neighbors gathered once more, their faces full of pity. That so-called blessing was a curse in disguise. They lamented, "Your only son, your only help in the fields. is now crippled. This is the worst luck of all. The farmer, as he was setting his son's broken leg, replied, without any trace of despair. Maybe. A few weeks after that, the emperor's army marched into the village. A brutal war had broken out in a distant province, and they were conscripting every able-bodied young man to fight. The soldiers took the sons from every other house in the village for a war from which very few would ever return. When they came to the old farmer's house, they saw his son lying there with his leg tightly bound in splints. They passed him by. His son was saved. The state of being awake tonight is neither good luck nor bad luck. It is simply a bend in the river. The anxious thought that you will be tired tomorrow is neither a prophecy nor a curse. It is just a story. To label these things, to judge them, is to assume you know the entire map of the river, when in truth, you can only see a few feet ahead. The wisdom lies in trusting the flow. It lies in looking at your situation, at your thoughts, at your feelings, and saying, with the calm, profound wisdom of the old farmer, maybe. So, surrender to this moment. Surrender your need to understand. Surrender your need to control. Surrender your judgment of this experience as good or bad. Let go of the swimmer and just be the one who is floating. Let go of the farmer and just be the one who is witnessing. There is nothing more for you to do. There are no more stories to tell, no more techniques to practice. The journey of the thinking mind is complete. Let it all dissolve into the vast, silent, starry night of your own being, and let us drift now, beyond words, into the pure space from which all words arise. You are floating on the gentle river of the night, held by the water, carried by the current. You have surrendered your need to control, your need to understand, your need to judge. The stories and the concepts, the parables and the metaphors have all been rafts, designed to carry you from the shore of struggle to this place of deep, quiet peace. And now, having arrived, you can let the rafts drift away. They have served their purpose. Even these words you are hearing now, let them cease to be ideas to be understood. Let them become just another sound in the room, like the whisper of the wind, another gentle current in the water, washing over you, guiding you even deeper into the great silence. There is nothing left to learn. There is only being. Let your awareness expand, becoming as vast and as limitless as the night sky itself. See it in your mind's eye, a boundless dome of deep, velvety indigo, stretching from horizon to horizon and beyond into infinity. And scattered across this immense darkness are the stars. Each star is a tiny point of light. Perhaps one star is a distant thought, a faint flicker of a memory. Another star is the sound of your own breathing. Another is the feeling of the blanket against your skin. See all the remaining contents of your awareness as these distant, beautiful, shimmering stars. They are tiny jewels sewn onto a vast cloak of darkness. Notice their beauty, but also notice their distance. They are far away. They are small points of light in an immeasurable expanse. Now, gently shift your attention. Instead of focusing on the stars, bring your awareness to the space between the stars. Become aware of the vast, silent, peaceful darkness that holds all the stars. The stars are numerous, but the space between them is infinitely greater. This darkness is not empty or frightening. It is a soft, nurturing, pregnant emptiness. It is the womb of the cosmos, from which all light is born. It is the ultimate silence, the ultimate peace. Let your mind rest in this space. Feel its immensity. Feel its profound stillness. The stars may twinkle and shimmer, but the deep, dark space behind them remains unchanged, undisturbed, and eternally at rest. This space is your true nature. Your awareness is not the flickering star of a thought. It is the vast, silent, dark space that allows the thought to appear. You are this infinite quiet. You are this boundless peace. Rest as this space. When a thought appears, see it as just another star, a tiny, distant point of light, and then, gently, return your awareness to the vast, dark peace that surrounds it. When a sensation arises in your body, see it as another star, shimmering for a moment, and then, effortlessly, relax back into the immense, quiet space of your own being. Let go of the stars. Rest in the space between. This space is silent. Listen to it. It is a silence that is not an absence of sound, but a deep, résonnant présence. It is the silence that was here before the universe began. It is the silence that will be here when all the stars have burned out. It is your own deepest essence. Rest in this silence. Let it hold you. Let it absorb all your weariness, all your striving, all your fear. This space is still. Feel its utter stillness. The universe may spin. The planets may turn. The thoughts may flicker. But this deep, background stillness is absolute. It is the motionless axis around which everything revolves. Allow the stillness of this space to permeate your body. Feel your limbs become heavy. Your muscles become slack. Your very bones sinking into this profound, cosmic stillness. This space is peace. It is not a peace that must be achieved or earned. It is the fundamental, unconditional peace that is the very fabric of existence. It asks nothing of you. It simply is, and you are that. Surrender into this peace. Let it be your blanket, your bed, your very substance. There is nothing to do to attain it. You only need to stop doing everything else and notice that it is already here. You are already it. There is nothing to fix. There is nowhere to go. There is no one to be. Just the silent, starry darkness. Just the vast, open space. Just this moment, unfolding in perfect, effortless peace. Let the words dissolve. Let the images fade. Let the very idea of you and the universe merge and disappear. There is only this quiet, this peace, this rest. Float in the silent, dark river. Rest in the vast, starry sky. The journey is over. You are home, drifting now in the space between the stars, floating in the great silent peace, resting deeply, completely at ease. There is only the silence and the space and the rest. Rest now. Rest. Rest. You are resting in the vast, silent space between the stars. You have floated on the dark river of the night and surrendered to its gentle current. The journey is complete. The work is done. There is nothing left for you to do. There is nowhere else you need to go. There is nothing you need to become. Everything you have been searching for, the peace, the stillness, the safety is already here. It is what you are. Let your awareness now gently return to the simple, tangible sensations of this moment. Feel the profound weight of your body, resting here in this bed. It is a good weight, a heavy weight, the weight of deep and total relaxation. It is the weight of surrender. Feel the warmth of the blankets that cover you, a cocoon of comfort and safety. Feel the soft, cool air on your skin. These simple sensations are anchors to this peaceful present. Notice the quiet that you have cultivated within your own mind. It may not be an absolute silence, but notice the spaciousness, the stillness that was not there before. This peace is your own creation. You have earned this rest. And know this, in the deepest part of your being, whether sleep comes now, or in 5 minutes, or not at all tonight, is no longer the point. You have already succeeded. The goal was never sleep. The goal was peace. And you have found it. You have learned how to befriend your breath. You have learned to sit on the banks of the river of your mind. You have tended to the garden of your body with kindness. You have emptied your cup of striving. You have found the peace behind the waterfall and the stillness in the heart of the storm. You have learned that you are not the fleeting weather, but the eternal, changeless sky. You have rested in the joy of simply being. This is a profound victory. You have planted the seeds of peace, of kindness, of wisdom deep within your heart. And these seeds will grow in their own time, in their own way, transforming your days as well as your nights. So now, with nothing left to do but to rest in this peace you have uncovered, let these final words be a gentle blessing, a soft lullaby to accompany you as you drift. Let them be a final permission slip, granting you access to the deep, healing rest you so richly deserve. May you be peaceful. May this quiet stillness in your heart continue to deepen, to expand, until it fills every cell of your being. May all the struggles of your mind and your heart be soothed by this deep and abiding peace. You are safe, here, in this bed, in this room, in this moment. You are completely safe. You are protected. You are held. There is nothing you need to guard against. You can let down all of your defenses. You can be soft. You can be vulnerable. You can be at rest. You are held. You are held by this bed that supports your body. You are held by the quiet of the night that surrounds you. You are held by the vast, silent, peaceful universe that is your true home. You can let go completely, knowing that you will be held. You are loved. You are loved by the kindest part of your own heart, the part that guided you through this journey tonight. You are loved by the very awareness that is witnessing this moment. You are a precious jewel in the great net of existence, and your light is essential to the whole. And so, you have permission to rest, a deep, complete, and unconditional rest. You have permission to let go of your body. Let it be heavy. Let it be still. Let it sink into the mattress, into the earth, into a state of profound slumber. You have permission to let go of your mind. Let the thoughts fade like distant stars. Let the stories dissolve into silence. There is nothing more that needs to be thought. You have permission to drift, to float on the dark, quiet river of the night, carried gently towards the great ocean of sleep. You have permission to sleep. Let go now. Let it all go. The day is done. The journey is over. The peace is here. Rest now. Deeply. Completely. Rest in the quiet. Rest in the darkness. Rest in the peace. Safe. Held. Peaceful. Rest. Sleep now. Sleep. Sleep. As you rest now in the deep, quiet harbor you have reached. These last words are a gentle echo, a final whisper on the shore of your consciousness. Whether you are hearing them with a mind that is awake and at peace, or whether they are mingling with the very fabric of your dreams, know that our journey together is complete. We began in the restless waters of a mind at war with itself, a mind that thrashed against the stillness of the night, and step by step, breath by breath, we found our way home. We learned to sit on the banks of the mighty river of our thoughts, watching them pass without being swept away. We tended to the garden of the body, offering kindness to the tensions held there. We discovered the freedom of the empty cup and the peace of the silent gatekeeper who refuses the toxic gift of judgment. We found a home in our own compassionate heart. And from there, we saw our connection to all of life, a single jewel in the infinite, shimmering net of the universe. The most important discovery of our journey is this: peace is not a distant prize to be won, only when sleep finally vanquishes wakefulness. It is not the absence of difficulty, noise, or thought. Peace is your fundamental nature. It is the vast, silent sky that was here before the storm of your anxiety arrived, and will be here long after it has passed. It is the deep, quiet water that lies beneath the turbulent waves. It is always here, always available, patiently waiting for you to stop struggling and simply notice its presence. Sleep, when it comes, arrives not as a reward for your effort, but as a natural guest who is drawn to a house that is quiet and at peace. You have created that peaceful home within yourself tonight. And so, as you drift in this boundless ocean of calm, remember that you are your own sanctuary. You are your own healer. The tools we use tonight, the anchor of your breath, the power of your gentle awareness, the limitless warmth of your own kind heart are not mine. They are yours. They have always been yours. They are with you now, and they will be with you tomorrow. And on any night when you find yourself in need of a safe harbor, you now know the way. You can always return to the breath. You can always return to the sky of your mind. You can always return to the kindness in your own heart. May your rest tonight be deep, healing, and complete. May your body be nourished, your mind be cleared, and your spirit be restored. And may you awaken in the morning feeling a little more spacious, a little more gentle, and a little more at peace with the beautiful, unfolding mystery of your own life. Good night. Sleep well.